single track mind.
It's get the drill.
And of course, that's the microphone stand that's fucked up.
Does anyone remember what I was trying to say?
Get the drill.
All right.
It's
I
like
don't know.
it's like 4 monkeys fucking 3 footballs.
Is everybody ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Nick, you good?
I'm good.
It's the loudest show around. Sundown After Dark with your host Bryan Chamberlain, presented by Sundown Audio.
Well, holy shit, we got some people in the house today, folks. Wow. All right, so here it is. So if you guys look to my left, there's a guy that needs no introduction, by the way.
Nick Wright?
That's right.
We've got Johnathan Price from Down for Sound in here. Been waiting for this show for a while, by the way, JP. Thank you for showing up.
Me too.
We got Nick Wright from Incriminator Audio in here. Thank you very much for coming as well. I've been waiting for you to come in here as well because we talk about you all the time.
Weren't you supposed to get your Incriminator shirt on?
I think I was told to, but I was told I'm going to have to do it again tomorrow, so I figured I would just save it.
Hey, Nick, if you could, bring that mic a little bit closer to you if you could.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you say hello? I don't hear
It's
anything.
a little quiet. It's a little quiet.
It's not working now.
Because he got it on the...
Oh, let's see. How about this? Try that.
What's all that business down there?
That's
Is there-
just clipped on there.
You know what?
I did that.
There's a switch on that mic. Maybe that switch is turned off.
We got to turn that sucker on.
It's a shit show.
You know, I should do a fucking sound check before we actually do
Check,
things.
check.
I thought we did that.
That's
Didn't we
what I
do
thought
that?
There
Oh,
we
something
go.
happened.
There we go.
Something
Say something, Nick.
Yeah, it's working.
Oh,
Hey.
man.
The funny thing
Oh.
was, before we went on live, I didn't do anything, and
Whoops.
it turned itself off.
Yeah.
He was working it back and forth, and it turned off.
Crank that
Doing
game.
some of this. Well, shit. So this show we're gonna focus more on JP. I actually did not know that you were rolling in today,
more on
Nick.
JP.
Tomorrow, when there's a lot of other people coming in, because we're gonna do a long show tomorrow. I want to get you and Scotty in here at the same time. We'll talk more about Incriminator and Excess Power at the same
Oh,
time.
that'd be fun. I want to make fun of him. Yeah,
that would be
sounds great.
awesome.
There's not enough room in this room for Nick Wright and Scotty Johnson.
So, anyway, JP, you're in here. What do you got on your lap? Let's talk about that first, so you can get off your lap. Because
What do you got in your
glad you
lap
asked
there,
about
JP?
what's that huge thing you got sitting on your lap there, buddy?
So I toted in a lot of salt with me today,
Did you?
as you can see.
It'd be this camera right here. This one that's above
Oh, that
Jacob. Yep.
Just sling it this way.
Oh,
Don't throw it. It's heavy.
Of course, it's upside down.
Yeah,
It
he-
is a
he's
very heavy.
amplifier.
He's got the big
I
guy.
haven't seen that in person. That thing is...
Say it, go
That's
ahead,
what she
say it.
said.
Go ahead, say it.
It's a big one.
Hey, Thomas wants to know if he can touch it.
So,
Get over here, man. You can touch my
Can I just...
hey, bring that mic
Lick
close to your
it.
face. That way we can hear you.
I was trying to make sure I was in the.
There we go.
The
Yeah,
camera
you
was
know-
kinda-
Thomas
Hey,
is
hey,
gonna lick what's
Don't
in
you worry. I
JP's
see
lap.
everything. We're good.
Good.
You can see
All
the
right.
whole amp.
Well, I just brought in the Salt 8 because it's so beautiful and it's very heavy too.
So,
Jake, did you
for
design
those that
YouTube?
haven't seen, Derek went ahead
Kinda.
and did a live
It
testing.
looks good.
Did Derek do live on the
By the
AK?
way,
It was the
yes.
AK. Yeah, I think that was the
It
first.
was a
Yeah.
two-part.
Did a rough
So-
sketch.
Derek did a live video on Facebook, and I believe he posted another video on YouTube on the Sundown on an official channel of the 8K test results.
Yes.
What did we get on that, Jake?
We got like over 11,000 certified.
On 8K.
Yeah.
And now people are like, oh, it's too much.
Well, the goal for the Salt amps was to meet rated power at 12 volts, like 12.0.
Right.
And they all do.
And the thing is, our test bench back there, we just can't get the voltage to drop that low.
I think Derek got it down to 12.5 on this,
Right.
and it still did like 9,000.
So we're good.
So, or
good.
9,500 or something like. It was a lot.
And the price point still for the 8K is
It's-
close to what the same
It's
500 is
$50 more than say 500, and actually, like
Fuck.
on the top end, we got damn near 30% more power out of it.
Nice.
So
It's gonna break.
JP, you already ordered a bunch of these, haven't you?
I tried to. I'm trying
Most
to
of
buy
them-
that. I'm gonna take this one home with me. He just doesn't know it yet.
But it's kicking. Is the back open on that one?
Oh yeah.
Let's flip that around. Ooh, sexy.
Look at all those electronic
Let's
components.
do that. There we go. There's a better camera view.
So JP, tell us what we're looking at here.
A lot of electrical components. MOSFETs, transformers,
Yeah.
thingamajigs.
We know some of those words.
It makes the speakers go
Steroids.
boom.
Yeah. So it kind of like to
All
the
right, here, I'll point and Jacob will tell.
there's like
Alright.
to an untrained eye, it might look similar to 7500. You know, you got the 6 transformers over here and whatnot. Caps in the center.
Look at those beautiful hands.
More capacitance. Output section's been updated. There's a new driver card. You know, and that's where some of the bigger changes have happened. I'm not gonna get into all the secret sauce recipes, but basically you take the 7500, make it better.
It's
all,
not your
all across
standard
the board.
It's not your standard Korean board, folks.
No, it's not.
I wish you could
ours.
like zoom in on his hands doing that, but then like soft transition like QVC or something.
I ain't got that kind of computing power.
There you go.
So basically, if you like the 7500, you're gonna love this. Like
Yeah.
for
You'll
very
freaking
little
love
money extra, you're getting a lot more power.
And this right here shows you, we're getting away from the 16 volt setups. That was the NS2 anyway.
Yeah.
But this is, it's
That's me, bro.
Yeah. And then on the speaker terminal side, there's dual 4-gauge inputs instead of 8-gauge. That's a lot bigger and badder. There's the remote status indicator, updated remote with temperature, all that good stuff going on.
And there's a new bass knob, right?
Yeah, the
for
new
this?
bass knob has
Yep.
temperature on it.
damn. We don't
and
have
also
one of those
voltage.
with us, do
Yeah,
we?
it's not done tooling yet.
Flip that around one more
Clipping
time,
light.
Which way?
just so we can see the front or the top, I should say. If
Right
you guys notice, just so we can see the top,
Oh.
top.
That way.
If you guys notice, we went with a different color. This is kind of like a gun.
Titanium.
Yeah, I was gonna say gunmetal,
It's
whatever color you want
titanium,
to go.
So Nick, we're gonna need you to say that.
Which
It's titanium, bro.
titanium, bro. No, I think
You gotta
that
say it like Nick.
the new look looks awesome. Most companies,
you gotta say
myself
it.
included, have black amplifiers, so the titanium's pretty kicking.
So we're getting away from the black and silver look because a lot of other companies are going with that, and
Yeah.
we want to
Like,
differentiate.
I can't even tell my
ourselves.
own amp at a show anymore from a
Right.
distance because everyone's a black amp with a silver bar. So I'm
Right.
like, I'm
So-
not doing that
so
shit
this
anymore.
is different, and I think it looks sexy. Nobody's doing this color.
I actually
does,
originally I wanted to
yeah.
make the whole top detachable, that you
Mhm.
could flip the whole top, but that was going to cost like a metric shit ton of money.
yeah.
So
It does look good.
so we
Next
just
year,
went with the
bro.
solid thing.
it looks good.
It does.
I don't like
Thank
shit.
you, Thomas. Thomas hates everything.
And speaking of big things in JP's lap, I'll share a story.
Oh,
Whoa.
wait.
We're already going to Schindler's
This is
List
y'all-
already
y'all-
it's already
y'all
the
were
after
all
dark
here,
portion.
So you can, yeah. No, we were walking through one of the rooms from the build room
Oh yeah.
up towards the front,
Yeah.
and this shit's really funny to me. So, for those who don't know, I'm highly arachnophobic. Sorry,
Oh yeah.
but like for real, I am. And
And then what happened was I heard a girl shit her pants, and I looked at JP, and JP's like, "What the hell's wrong with him?" And I look, and this guy's in the floor because he saw a little tiny spider. Sorry, I ruined your story, but like,
Sorry, I ruined your Black
it
Panther
was
party.
it was a big spider.
How big was
a
it, Thomas?
And the big.
it was
at
like
least-
this.
it was a
It was
big
like
and
the
big
size
ol'
of maybe a quarter on a good day.
Round and
Daddy long
and
leg.
it's a big one. And then I yelled, man, get that. So I yelled like, Jesus Christ, that's big. And then everyone turns around to look and see what I'm reacting to, and JP immediately is like zipping up his pants. He's like, "Sorry, I'll keep it in next time." Like,
Good one, buddy.
it was like that, man. I hope you don't mind me telling
Hit him
that
with a
story,
quick
otherwise
one.
we can edit that out. But
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
ain't
good
in
till
shit.
that.
That's funny.
Try to be funny every now and then.
You're
No,
welcome
we
to
we,
put
we
that
had
on the
we
wall
did
if you
have a
want.
legitimately big spider in
See,
Troutman, and
I'm
I
just
think
gonna
we've told
Put it
this
on there,
story
I'm just gonna
before.
hold it.
There was a
Alright.
I don't
spider.
wanna scratch
There was a
it.
spider so big on our build table in Troutman that actually all of us thought it was fake. We thought someone had left a fake spider there to scare Thomas.
oh yeah, no.
and so then
yeah,
I was like, I
totally.
wonder if it's real. And I was like,
It was by the.
and then it was
owner.
like, ha! And Thomas was like, ah! So I stabbed it with some pliers.
Dude, this spider, so it was October, and it was Nick Lemons that saw it.
It was legitimately probably like with the legs open like this big.
Nick Lemons
Was
saw
it
it.
black
was
and yellow,
sitting
like a
on the
riding spider?
soldering
No, it was
station.
like a
It
wolf
looked
spider
like
looking.
it looked like something from Damn Spirit Halloween. Like it didn't look real, and And like, so
like-
we were just sitting. By the way, I know I say like a lot. Fuck off. I don't know. So
I used to
oh my
struggle with
God.
the same thing.
So I'm
yeah.
curious, how are you still alive? If we see a spider that's the size of a quarter, and you almost had a heart attack today, how did one the size of a softball not finish you off? I guess what happened is what happened is Sundown had to move, right? We had to go to a new build, and the spider was too big.
I'm probably gonna be dead in a week, Nick. But like, for real, yeah, this thing was on the damn station.
It was big.
The soldering station, and I remember Nick Lemons, and he just goes, "It's not a real spider." Like he even laughed about it,
Right.
and we were looking at it, and I said the same thing again. I'm highly arachnophobic, and I was all. That shit don't look real. Like my fear wasn't set off at all. And then Jake comes over, and we were like, me and Nick at the same time. We're like, fuck!
We need to get one of those big riding spiders and put it on the toilet seat.
So
I actually stabbed the spider dead nuts on with some pliers.
So let's just
Yeah.
assume he didn't stab the spider. If he just would have grabbed the spider and threw it at you, what would have happened?
He wouldn't be here today.
I
That's
wouldn't be here.
the end of
man.
Thomas's career in Sundown. Yeah.
I'm out, bro.
It could be Sundown Underground then.
Hey, JP,
It's like
take
After
that-
Dark.
Take that mic and kind of bring it close. This part closer to your mouth.
Got to talk
Like
into,
this?
talking
There
to
you
the side
go.
of it there,
There you
yeah.
go.
He
Perfect.
said like into the light. I was like right
Well,
on the light, but okay,
you're
I got it
following
now.
directions too well.
Okay, I got it now.
So anyway, the mic pickup's right here, but the red light, blah blah blah.
All right, I got the big black round.
So we
thing
got
right on my
JP. We
face
got
now.
JP in the house, and
In the house.
just kind of we don't have no bullet points for today, other than we've got some questions later after the break, and I kind of wanted to go over. And this is usually what I do when I have somebody new in here and somebody big.
Down for spiders.
How it all began.
T4S.
Because you're fucking huge now, okay?
No,
you're
man.
huge. And thank God you sell our products and you do a fantastic job doing that. And you rep the hell out of us. But we want to know from the beginning where it all began, how it all started.
Man, that's a long
It's a long
story.
Hey, man, we got all
Do
How
day.
do I cliff note it?
Just do some bullet points. You start boom, 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 boom.
Maybe say some things that people haven't heard yet.
Because people ask me all the time, and I got a cliff notes.
Remember, you don't have to be politically correct here at Sundown After Dark. You can say
so-
all the dirty things if you want.
So starting, like it was funny. Like Nick picked me up from the airport, and
Right.
we always like do a little buddy thing while we're here at
What up,
Sundown
Jake?
for the show. But anyway, I was just telling him like some people like think they want to be an entrepreneur or everybody wants to make money, I would think. But anyway, I was getting back to when I first got started and my dad trying to get me into like making money like way back in the day. He taught me how to like cut grass, and even so I started cutting grass on the street like that, like on my street.
I remember
obviously.
when you were doing that.
Well, this was like but I did it as a hustle like throughout my entire life until I moved to Vegas where there's really not any grass, and now obviously I don't have
Right.
time to do it. But anyway,
You were in Mississippi.
yeah, I had plenty of grass in Mississippi.
Mississippi.
So anyway, I did that for like when I was I don't even know probably like 5 years old, 6 years old. I started
Wow,
doing
okay.
that. Yeah, and my anyway, so the summer ended and there wasn't any grass, and I was like, man, I want to buy some, I don't know, a bike or whatever.
Mhm.
And my dad always made me, he's like, if you want anything in life, you're gonna have to work for it. He did always teach me
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's a
But
good message.
That's the way it should be.
so but he would pay for a half, so I always like that would give me some initiative to work. So anyway, so I wanted to get this bike. And now it's the winter time. There's no way for me to generate any revenue.
Right.
And we're walking down the street. He's like, "You see that up in the tree?" And I'm like, "No, it's just a tree." He's like, "There's a mistletoe up there." I'm like, "Okay, what is that?" And so he's like, "People kiss under that, and you could climb up in the tree, grab some mistletoe, and I could get some bows, and you could put the bows on there and sell it to people."
Hell
Like,
yeah.
I could.
That's a good hustle.
Yeah,
I was like, I could.
Who
So
thinks, who
I was
thinks
like,
of that, by the way? That's
I don't-
actually
that's
awesome.
JP's dad.
That's my dad, but my dad's not an entrepreneur. Like he's a very hard worker,
And
probably the
those
hardest
Christmas goers will,
He's
will
a good
buy
old
the hell
country
out
guy,
of those.
yeah?
Yeah, just like he's like truly like coming from nothing. Like he
Isn't
gave me a huge
mistletoe-
head start.
Isn't mistletoe like from a holly tree? Like
I
the
think
little-
it grows on like different trees. I'm not for sure, but anyway, like I went and got. All I know is I went up in the tree and got the mistletoe, brought it down, and made the little things like you said, and I went around to the like houses in the neighborhood and sold all of them. Did it again.
And you
sold
were-
all of them.
You were a little kid
I was
at the
like
time.
6,
So
5 or 6.
dude. People,
You know,
were
you
just-
can't
I gotta
say
tell,
no.
I gotta
Take
tell
my
Dylan
money.
that shit.
You can't say no to a little
Of
kid
course
showing
you
up. Like
can't.
if I had like little things of piles of shit on there. Oh yeah, I'll take it. You're so
Dude,
cute.
JP, imagine Dylan doing that. He's like,
Oh,
buy my stuff.
I take all of them.
That's not enough money.
Yeah, I don't know that would work out to not buy my stuff, fat guy.
So that was the beginning of your entrepreneurship.
I mean, but I didn't know at the time.
gotta
But
tell that
like,
story later.
it's the little things like that. Like looking back, I'm like, man, maybe that's what like started that. I guess mindset.
Right.
But anyway, going back to the yard cutting or grass cutting thing, I always did that throughout my entire life, like until I moved to Vegas. And if anybody is listening to this and you're looking for something to do, cutting grass is something that like anybody can get into. If you like,
Yep.
it's like it's 99% of the time it's cash money.
Yeah.
Like you can go to a
Uncle
person's
Sam
house.
don't need to know about it.
You have to. I mean, but the problem is like people don't want to work these days. Like so,
Right.
but if you're not afraid of working, getting hot, like there's always grass to be cut. And I cut grass and detailed cars and airplanes for.
I generally pay people
Very
to cut
long
my
time.
grass because I hate doing it and washing
Yeah.
my car.
Yeah, exactly. And a funny thing about that, like I know I've posted this on my social media. Maybe some of y'all have already seen it, but I always thought when I was growing up and until
Yeah,
like
I
a
like
couple,
that. Yeah.
until a couple of years ago, I always thought if somebody paid somebody to cut their grass or wash their whatever, that they were lazy.
Right.
That was my mindset because I'm like, I do this stuff like, what?
Yep.
It's hot.
But now-
It's hot outside.
But now it makes sense because when you get to a certain position, it costs you more to
yep. Time is
cut
money.
it yourself. Yeah,
Time is money.
exactly. And it's hard for a lot of people to understand. Like, and I wouldn't
Yep.
expect for a lot of people to.
Yep.
But now, like, I get it. I'm like, man, it could cost you like a ton of money.
Yeah.
Sure
Like doing it
I
yourself.
mean, imagine if you were an entrepreneur and you're out cutting your grass and you hurt yourself.
Exactly.
You know, and then you
Put
couldn't
your
go
eye
to
out.
work. Yeah. So I'm totally on that, and I thought the same thing too. And I was like, man. And then you think, even when you start your company, you're like, man, I can't believe I'm not going to pay anybody to pack these boxes. I'm saving so much money. You know, and they're like, well, but I need to be out there selling products, so I need to pay someone to pack these boxes.
Right.
You know?
Right. Went through the same thing.
Now we got
like-
multiple people packing boxes.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
to, man. I know it was just as hard for JP as it was for me to trust anybody to do anything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
Like it's
And Nick, you know all about that too.
Yeah, I think most entrepreneurs, they struggle with the fact that they build their baby from the ground
Yeah.
up,
Right.
and then
You remember the talk we had, JP? I said, you got to realize that everyone you hire is not you.
exactly.
yeah.
And usually they're not as good.
I mean, and
Or better.
some people turn out to be better, but it's different. You would never imagine that that's what you really wanted.
Right.
Right.
And you're
right.
like, wow, that guy, wow, he's really doing shit.
And yeah, and then you start looking to hire people for their strengths or like something that you're weak at. Nobody can be strong at
Yeah, right,
everything.
yeah.
So like you hire people that like are good at customer service
That
or
reminds
good.
me of something that Jake said about Dan Wiggins. He only hired people that were
They know- they know
as smart-
something that he doesn't know.
right,
Yeah.
which is almost impossible. So yeah, that's awesome.
I've
So
never felt dumber than when I hung out with a crew that he assembled. I was in China. and it was this crew. There was like 9 of them, and they
The crew
introduced
he
me
assembled, like the Avengers.
like the Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And he was like, yeah,
Entrepreneur
he's like, I
crew.
personally hired all these people, and this is so and so, and he does automation, and this is so and so, and he does scheduling, and like these were like all the smartest people I've
it's
ever
probably
sat in
a
a room with.
trigonometry test they have to
Yeah.
take before they.
And,
they
and I'm
do it.
like, and I felt like an idiot, you know, and I feel like I'm a pretty smart person, but I felt really stupid with all these people.
Jacob's definitely one of the smartest people I know.
Thank you,
Definitely,
JP. Appreciate
yeah.
that.
he is a smart cookie.
I
Believe
like
me.
to read a lot.
He
You know,
he
speak-
inspires me to read more too.
Jake gave me a book 6 months ago to
He
read.
didn't read it.
I
Please
read
do.
the first page, and I never picked it up since then. I'm sorry, buddy.
I do have a confession on that. Like I'm not good at actually reading paperback books.
yeah.
Like and they put me to sleep really fast. Usually
Mhm.
like I have long days, just like everybody does. But I usually start my days at 3:30, 3:45 in the morning, and
Oh,
like
boy.
I try to be asleep by 10 at night. So that's my standard day. But so if I get in the bed and I'm
There's
trying
no-
to flip through pages, like I'm shutting down. So usually like if I'm my morning routine is to get up and go to the gym, and when I'm doing cardio, like I'll just be listening to like
Yeah.
an audiobook.
That
so
makes sense.
Oh yeah. Okay.
so like that way I
works.
can sort of multitask. But
Yeah,
you
you're
get-
saving your eyes
get
for
up
later.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
time? I see you like 4 a.m. at the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough, dude. That's rough.
JP's got a
That's
lot of
gnarly.
energy. He's
And I
It's
bitch-
it's really not like that. I have. It's not that I have a lot of energy. Like I've been like dragging today, like bad. But like I really try to like do like a mind over matter type of thing, and like
it's probably your overall healthy lifestyle.
See, these past few weeks, I've been waking up at like 5 in the morning to get to work early just to get some extra work done because I knew that there's a lot going on this week.
yeah.
And I'm over here like bitching. JP's waking up at 3:30 in the morning.
I sprung out of bed this morning because I knew that these guys were going to be here. I've been like,
Oh,
Dude was here before I
feel
was.
special.
I've been dragging ass, and then today I was like, boom, 6 o'clock. I'm up.
Damn. Did
Let's
it
do it.
big.
Yeah. It doesn't help that I go to bed at like 1 in the morning either.
During the
so.
school year, I get up at 5, but I can't do a JP with the 3:30. Oof.
Yeah.
No.
And it wasn't something I just like
Yeah.
immediately started doing. Like it was like after researching, like you find people that like maybe are at a
Yeah.
position that you would like to be at, and
Mhm.
you like go look at the stats, and the majority of those people wake up early. You're able to get a lot of
Yep.
stuff done before
it's
the
incredible,
world
isn't
wakes
it?
up.
It's suck.
Yeah.
It's see the thing about going to bed at like 10 o'clock. For me, I feel like it's
Shoot,
just,
I got to go to bed at 7:30
it's
if I'm
just not
getting
enough. I feel like it's not a waste, but like there's so much more to go. There's so much more time that available to do things.
I don't know what the difference is.
It
Like,
could be available in the morning.
I don't know what the difference is, but since I
But
had kids,
when do
like,
you
I
have
need- I
time to
need
do
more
your
sleep.
relations? I mean, it's usually after 10,
Yeah,
right?
in the morning.
JP's like 3:45. Doesn't everybody do that?
And that's something else. Like it's not for everybody for sure.
Right.
Like my girlfriend Jessica is like a prime example. Like, and it was hard for me. Like when you get so set on like your ways of doing something, it's very difficult to
Yeah.
sometimes see it some other way. And I'm
Right.
like, get up. Like, why are you?
You got her
why-
waking up at the same time
No,
now?
she does wake up earlier, but
Yeah.
like like
Everybody
not
has a different sleep necessity as
exactly.
well, you know. So
Exactly.
some
and
people are like, do you remember Rob Webster?
yeah.
He could sleep 4 hours, and it's like he slept for 12 hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, how are you alive? He's like, I
Screw
feel
that.
great. And he's like cooking breakfast for everybody.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm like
That was a good old SPN days.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, we'd all go down to Rob's house and he'd cook
Yeah.
everybody dinner and
Lobster and stuff.
yeah,
he
steak
could be
and
out
lobster.
drinking until 3 o'clock in the morning. He's up at 6, and he looks like $1 million.
Yeah, and that's when at that point I was looking at him like, dude, you're an animal. Like, how do you do that?
Right.
But
he's
it-
older than everybody in this room. He's still kicking
Oh,
ass.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
For
can't.
sure.
I can't help it. Every time y'all mention his name, I think of the one particular story I'm not going to tell when he was referring to someone's chest area.
I would-
Every time I see him, I go, "Hey, you know about those titties?" And he's like, "God, let's not talk about that again." I'm like, "You should have told me."
Well,
fella.
now we have to know about the titties.
I gotta hear this story. It's not like anybody watches the show anyway.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna dog him out that bad. He'll kill me.
He can tell us later off the air.
Oh man, Rob's an awesome guy. He
I
doesn't- he
I
doesn't
remember
come
the
up here
first time
enough,
I heard about JP. David Moore is the guy that turned me on to you.
right?
really,
Yeah, when you had your 4
y'all might be
18s.
hearing a story that I don't know.
Yeah, this might surprise you. I don't know. You had the 418s, and you're at SBN, and David had rebuilt. I think you had a Tomex or RDs or something.
Yeah, already super
Uh,
heavyweights.
So just so everybody knows, David Moore called it.
Yeah.
He goes, I don't know what it is about this guy, but he's the next big thing, guys. I'm just telling you, you need to get in with him.
David Moore from PSI.
That's
Fix My
before. That's
Speaker.
before you got amps from me.
wow.
Shout out to
yeah.
PSI. Fix
Yeah, I
My
didn't know
Speaker.
that. Yeah, David's always been super cool with me. I always
Yeah.
like
Yeah, David
considered
is
him a good
like
friend.
he's
Super
like,
chill dude.
He's an interesting guy. I feel like he just has this sense about people, almost. You know, he was just like, yeah, that JP. He's like, I don't know what it is about him, but he's doing things. He's doing big things.
Oh, that's when your YouTube was starting to kick off around that time, right?
And that's why I did the amp deal with you. I was like, all right, I believe you, David. I'm gonna get in with JP. Let's get him those amps.
You're like, I still don't know, man. This might be a bad deal.
Yeah.
Like, so what he did, well, I had RD 5Ks or something like that, and he swapped them for me for the 4500 at the time, right?
4500.
SAZ?
Yep.
4500s. And I was like, man, I'm sponsored.
Yep.
I'm sponsored, bro.
Which we very seldom ever do.
Oh, yeah.
ever.
And that was when JP. I don't even think you hadn't really thought of the idea of really marketing yourself by selling yet.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even trying. I wasn't
Yeah.
even thinking about
And
selling
I think
anything.
David kind of saw the writing on the wall, though. He was like, this guy's like doing something, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wasn't at that time. Like, I wasn't even thinking about selling anything. I was just like, I want to have a cool system, like this.
Right.
So, and I know like Sundown had a respectable product at that time. So I'm like, man, if I could get that in here, that'd be super sweet because I don't know if everybody knows the story about RD, but that ended up being a huge flake,
yeah,
and like
it's crazy.
Yeah.
he's screwed me and a lot of other people. But that is what it is. Sometimes it takes getting a screw in to move on to something better.
Hurting for a squirting. Hey, Jake, may you pass the gentleman jack, please? And a cup for me to put it in.
How does that apply?
Hurting for a squirting. We won't go any further than that. So, JP, you kind of touched base on something I'm interested in. So, and I don't know this story, so if you've told it, bear with me. How did you get into car audio in general? Like, I understand it may have been a hobby, but like, what was the initial thing that sparked your mind going, hey, car audio is cool, I want to be part of it?
Man, it was actually like way back in the day when I think I was like 14 or 15. 13, 14, 15, something like that.
Like 5 years ago.
You know, right? Yeah. I'm like 47 now, I think. But I was riding with my mom one day. It's funny how you can like envision these things like it was yesterday. But I was riding with my mom down this main street in Greenville, Mississippi. And we pulled up to this red light, and I hear this sound. Until that time, I'd never really heard bass. Like, and we're sitting there at the red light, and we hear like boom, 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 boom. And it's getting louder, and the dude pulls up beside us, and I look over, and I'm like, man, what is that? Like, what is that sound? And I'm like, I asked my mom, I was like, what is that sound? She's like, it's bass.
It's boombox.
Yeah, it's bass. And I was like, man, that's cool. And she's like rolling the window up. No, it's not. And anyway, so it ended up, it was this guy with his truck or whatever. And a little while later, at that time, you could get what's called a hardship license. Like in Mississippi, I think at 14, you could get like this like permit where you could drive. If you had like a job, you could drive from like 6 in the morning to like 7 at night, pretty much like just to get back and forth to work.
Without a driver's license?
No, you had like, it's called like a hardship or a permit or something like that before you actually get your like technical driver's license. So anyway, I was coming back. I guess we can get into my very first job.
Do it.
My very first job was literally chopping cotton in the fields of Mississippi, literally at Delta Pineland.
Okay, that's some hard work.
Yeah, it's definitely some hard work, but I ended up getting into even rougher work like later in my life, which I can tell you all about. But
Did
anyway,
you, like stripper gears or some shit?
Yeah, hands down. Like that was the most difficult work of my entire life. But so like staying on track with the bass, how I got addicted to it. That's when it like sparked my interest in car audio or bass or whatever. But anyway, I was heading back from chopping cotton one day in the fields of Mississippi, and
get chopped or picked?
Well,
yeah, I have to ask this question.
So what we were doing like Delta Pineland, and I don't think I think they sold out to Monsanto, the evil corporation, right? So anyway, I think they sold out to them, but back in the day, like they were doing all the testing on the different like gene testing or cross-pollinating and stuff like that. So we would have to go in and they would like get pieces of string and run it from one side of the field to the other, and we'd have to cut the cotton down in between them to make test plots. So that's like we were literally chopping cotton, and then when that was finished, we would go down through the rows and chop the weeds out or whatever. So anyway, I was on my way home one night from doing that, and I hear the sound again, this bass, and I'm looking around and I see the guy, and I'm like, holy crap, there he is. And he passes me by because I was at a red light and the light turned green and he just coasted through or whatever. So I get behind him and I'm like following him through town, and he's like basing. I'm like, man, that's so cool. He pulls into a gas station. His name is Eric Washington, by the way. And he pulls into this gas station. I pull in right behind him. I'm like, dude, like, what is that? Can I see your system, man? And he's like, yeah, man. And he opens it up and he has like a really cool setup for back in the day. He had like toolboxes on. It was like a Chevy truck. He had these toolboxes, like one big one behind the back glass, and then two like longer toolboxes going back towards the tailgate. And you could open up all the. He ended up being an installer at a place in town called Cartoons at the time, and they're still open. But opened it up, and it was like very nice installs. I was like, dang, man, this is what car audio is. This is super cool. I'm like, can I hear it? And he said, yeah. So I got in there, and like that's what like hooked me.
That's cool.
Like,
hell yeah.
That's the first time I ever saw like a roof ripple and make that wah wah wah.
That's neat,
like
right?
sound.
It would have been really cinematic if he rolled down his window and it was David Moore.
Right.
Like, so when you do the movie,
no, he didn't even know me.
When you do the movie, the JP story,
Oh, yeah.
John Travolta's playing you or whatever.
Right.
it needs to be David Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Played
yeah,
by
so
Henry Winkler.
like I heard it, and I was just like, that's what hooked me on car audio was that
Oh, yeah.
like Eric Washington like driving by that
Yeah.
day.
So do you know him personally now?
Yeah,
or
yeah. So
Does does he run Sundown now?
no, he did, I don't think he has a system anymore. Like but he works at a body shop. I still have like he's on my Facebook and stuff like that. Really good guy. Like and I've like maintained friendship with him like ever since then. So it's been pretty cool. But that's what got me hooked on
Oh yeah.
car
Well,
audio.
thank you to him for
That's cool, man.
getting you started.
for sure. Where would I be right now?
Right.
I remember when I was first
Picking
when
cotton
I was
still.
first getting into cardio. Brandon's the one that got me started, and I was into cardio for maybe a year or two, and then I saw Nick Wright at in Charlotte at some sort of.
I thought you were gonna say Memphis meet.
No, it was before, this was even before that. This was before the Memphis meet. I saw you had your booth. I have actual photographs from like a film camera at my house of your original death penalties and shit.
This is like 2002.
Like two. Yeah, you had just started.
Yeah.
All that weight off your
Yeah.
back.
Dude,
Then I
that
saw his
amp is
shit.
so heavy, it was
And then-
making my
and
butt
then-
fall asleep.
And then I met Nick Lemons, who had
You're
his
into
own
little chair,
company
too.
and like all this shit, and that was kind of what got me into the business aspect. It was like him and Nick Lemons and all that. But it was I had just gotten into cardio when I met these guys, you know, and I hadn't even seen a loud system until I went to that
I
show.
like how your story makes me sound so old. You were just a young lad, and the old man was in the corner with the car audio.
He's like my age.
Welcome to the show business.
By the way, I want to
Just-
give a quick shout
it's
out
all for
to
show.
I'll give a shout out to Josh Skipper and the crew over there at Elite Euro in Florence, South Carolina.
Thank you guys.
for sending us this
Hey,
gentleman's
these
jet.
guys fixed my Volkswagen for
They
me too.
they sure did.
They
Nice.
fixed it.
Yeah, they do car
Score.
audio and European vehicles.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Score.
thank you very much for this, folks. And if anybody else wants to send anything,
Perks
like
of
this,
the
you're
job.
welcome to do that.
Hey, when I get back, I'll send you guys a bottle of our stuff.
Thanks, man.
Hell, remember that Pappy that you sent us at one
Oh, it
time?
was beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
We all drank way too much of it before we realized how fancy it was.
Oh, yeah, it
hey.
was so
And
good.
then we're like, oh no.
Hey,
Pappy Van Winkle.
Jake really
kicks
likes his
ass.
Christmas gift that I sent
do.
over.
what is it?
You remember that fancy bottle of Pappy that he sent, and we all had these big pours of it, and they were like, "Oh no, it's so expensive."
It's good. It's good, was it not?
It's so good. We should sell
We're
it.
just like
I've never
looking at our
personally
phones,
thanked
like,
you for
oh, I wonder
that,
how much this
Thank you
costs.
very
Oh
much.
shit.
sir.
I should have savored that a little bit more.
I never save pictures in my phone.
Yeah.
But I saved a picture of the Pappy.
But believe it or not, that was when it was.
I'm
easy
not
to
Babe's
get.
Pappy.
Now maybe I do good to maybe get 7 or 8 bottles a year of that stuff.
7 or 8?
It's on lockdown now for real.
Man.
That's what happens when you're a
Okay,
cardio
there's
baller.
a finite amount of it, right?
When you're
It's
making
not-
jillions.
Right, well, it's old as shit. It's aged quite
Yeah.
long. I
That
do
was the
believe.
12, and it was beautiful. It was a
Yeah,
beautiful.
the
awesome.
when you get to the 15 level, it turns into like water. I don't even know how to describe it, and then it just gets a little better. But the 15, the 20, and the 23 are absolutely ridiculous, and the 12 is
great.
Is
It was
great
great.
to begin with.
Definitely the best bourbon that I've had. I feel
Did
like.
you guys want a cigar, by the way? But I don't even think we asked you. I'm sorry.
I'm good.
No, I'm good
Okay,
right now.
okay.
JP does.
I know JP smokes like
They're,
once a year.
They're Pappy
That's
Van
usually
Winkle.
the-
He's saving it
I
for
know he's-
Oregon, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, we didn't even talk about this. So when this airs, it'll be Friday. So tomorrow, we're
Mhm.
recording Thursday. You're here. Actually, both of you are here because we have our show this weekend.
Yeah.
So for those that are watching this on Friday, get your asses down here on Saturday and come to our show.
Meet these two legends.
Exactly. It's at the Hickory Motor Speedway. I believe doors open at 9 or 10.
Nine-ish, yeah.
I think it's like $10 to get in, $20 to bring your vehicle in. I
The
mean,
Neo Ho will be there.
Yep.
It will.
We're gonna have Neo Ho.
stand in line
We're
and-
gonna have Nick Wright. We're gonna have Scotty Johnson. We're gonna have Nick Lemons.
Hey, speaking of, Scotty's calling me right now. It's all right.
Aw.
Call me back later.
Oh, hit
Be
the
there
decline button.
because I don't like any of you.
So we're talking about Mississippi.
Listen,
And here's the reason why I
Oh,
say.
I was just about to ask if you're about to go.
Here's the reason why I say Mississippi the way I say. I'm not going to show it on the video,
It
but
gets
we're gonna.
worse
we're gonna-
every time.
Now he says a few words that I can't. I had to like skip through.
yeah.
So we're gonna
So you're
listen.
just gonna
Just want to
play it
hear
in Mississippi.
Mississippi.
We're gonna.
State of Mississippi ain't interested in your meteorological assessments.
You tell him the state of Mississippi is only interested in getting this here ditch cleared by sundown.
State of Mississippi.
Sundown.
It's cleared by sundown. You got that, boy.
Got it.
Somebody needs to put Jake's face on that guy.
So I can't hear this because I don't have headphones on. But I remember one time well, not one time, many
Midbass
times,
count.
we say Mississippi. In order from Mississippi, this from that from Mississippi. And then Bryan repeats it. It's just like, and then one time I was standing in Donnie's office, and I was just like, something about Mississippi. And then Bryan just
yells
like,
from the.
it's completely, he's just like, it's just gone.
It's
And
like
you know what's cool
it's
about
like the Tucker
Mississippi?
Jobs situation.
My U.S.-made amplifiers
Yeah,
are going to
what
be
I thought
made
it
in
came
Mississippi.
Did y'all hear that?
No,
Say it again.
My
For the
U.S.-made
people in the
amplifiers
back.
will be made in Mississippi.
No shit.
They'll be made from where, Bryan?
I need to get a
And
made-in
it's-
shop on sticker.
Yeah, it's spelled like that too.
totally,
A lot of A's and S's. No,
it's
no I's at all.
totally like the South Park.
Ticker
Jerbs.
ticker
That's what it
He
is.
took
Every
her
time
dogs.
you say Mississippi
They broke my
or
jaw.
America, that's originally what started it, right? We were saying "Made in America," and it was like
America. So
All right, let's
we
rein
kinda-
this
we,
back
we
in.
cut
It
JP's
just,
story
like,
off.
It
We
devolved.
did. I'm sorry,
So he
buddy.
Like going down the street.
He started.
Let him off at the pass.
He was just the dude with the system. Then he started his Down for Sound. He was in like his parents' house, and then you had the storage building, and then
The
went
movie's
from there.
coming out next summer.
Yeah.
Just watch
Yeah.
the
I'll
movie.
tell you what I know him as, a goddamn winner, and God bless you, sir.
I appreciate it, man.
Jason Momoa as Johnathan Price.
With the chair.
Oh,
Tom,
yeah,
Tom
shit.
Cruise. Tom Cruise. Who would play
no,
Nick?
no, wait.
All right, so
He's gonna have to play
According
himself.
to his son, some
Wait.
fat guy.
Ric
Yeah.
Flair.
So Dylan was like, Dylan was like, always turned up. He's like, "Why are you such a big fat guy?" don't worry. He says shit like that to me. He's like, "Dad, why's your belly so big?" And I'm like, "It's your fault."
Yeah,
Yeah,
you did it.
He
His-
didn't much
his
like
son-
it when I said, "You're awful small for a 4-year-old."
Yeah, I've been telling my sons like, "You need to eat more protein, or you're gonna be super short." And then so I got Nick in on. He's like, "Are
That
you
was his
4?
comeback.
Are you super short?" He's like, "No, I'm 6."
Well, you look awful tiny.
it's
you
like his
know?
son used to say
That's
Jimmy and I
perfect.
were the
Remember
strongest
that,
men
dude. My
here
son's too,
because we were the
so
biggest.
thank you.
You got. They were
Yeah.
like, "Who's the strongest guys at Sundown?" Just got
I
it's
hit
Jimmy
you
and
up
Bryan. They
for,
got the
like,
biggest
dad
bellies.
advice,
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's a muscle
Of
thing.
course, I'll agree with that.
Oblige.
Sure, I can do that for you.
All right, so you're working with the cotton and
In the great state of Mississippi.
Eric.
We're not gonna be able to get past it.
Yeah.
Every time I say Mississippi,
I'm just glad he's here because when I talk in my Alabama twang, JP makes me sound so good.
Yeah.
people say I've been losing some of it. I
You
don't
have
know.
lost a little bit of it. It's
Yeah, a little
disappointing.
bit.
I try to go back and visit a lot though.
All right, so when do you actually start? Hold on, when do you start the YouTube thing or the social media thing? Because that's, I suppose, when things start climbing for you.
YouTube. So I started a YouTube channel. If it's some of my followers on here, they'll remember it. It was called Bagged Z71. Like I had a YouTube channel like a long time ago,
Okay.
and I thought I was doing it big. I got to like 5,000 subscribers, and I was like starting to like I was posting a lot on the forums like SMD
yeah.
and stuff like that back then. And then like somebody hacked my YouTube account,
Remember
deleted
that
all my
shit? Yeah.
deleted all of it or whatever. I'm like, man,
You
screw
had a
this.
major hater there.
Yeah, I'm like, screw this, man. I'm not doing this anymore just for like somebody to come in and delete all my hard work or whatever.
Did he hack it for ransom?
No, it was just like it's gone.
Damn.
So I was like, I mean, whatever.
Didn't
like,
even give you a chance.
yeah, I'm like, whatever. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to pay anything at that time anyway. I was working at the airport and making I don't know $250 a week, whatever it was. So
That's more than you make now.
it's close. I mean, I work a lot of overtime now, so I make a. I think I almost cleared 500 last week. So, but anyway.
It's moving. Fill it up.
What's going on?
They were trying to.
trying
They
to
were
fill
trying
up
to
Nick's cup and it
refill
kept
my
blowing.
cup, and the air conditioners are pushing it across the table.
Oh.
And we almost had a spider moment because Thomas over here thought an
He
evil
thought a
ghost
spider
was
was under it.
pushing it. He's like supernatural powers are going on.
I like
Then
how you say the air conditioners. Like we have some fancy system back here. It's a little fan. It's this
Yeah.
little rinky-dink
Well, the-
fan.
Totally.
The people probably didn't see it, but the funny part was he looked at it. And he's like, "Is it really moving?" And then he like looked at himself. He's like, "Wait a minute! I'm not even drunk yet. What's going on, guys?"
It is moving.
I love love you, Nick.
Where the hell were we again? I don't even remember. Let's rank.
JP,
so many
I
detours.
promise we're gonna
Yeah.
quit interrupting your story.
No, no, this
but I'm
is
down
good.
here
We
on the
need
end
this.
of the. You three are doing good up there on your end of the table. I'm down here with these two, and they cannot get it together down here. Like I don't know
That's
what's
normal.
going on.
That's normal.
That's
But you know what?
just
That's what makes the show.
Nick shows up once a year and tells Thomas what a shitty job he's doing.
So here's the deal, Nick.
For it. I really do.
I'm generally a funny person, but when I'm up here like doing all this shit, it's so hard for me to project my so-called funny. So I need these guys to just cut up like crazy to help me. So that's
Well, you don't need them to cut up.
Yeah.
They just got to do their job here, and you can laugh at him. I was back there today, and he was just shooting glue all over the floor for whatever reason.
Wait, what?
And he kept blaming it on the pneumatic pump. He's like, I can't get
That don't
this.
sound
Ever
right at
since
all.
I broke this thing, it doesn't work very well. Glue's going on. I'm like, dude, you're shooting epoxy all over the floor. That's on the. I got to
Oh,
clean
there's
it off the
$1.
That don't
spider.
sound right at all.
Jake's back there just shaking his head, and Jake's like, I like how when they say this, they always say it in innuendos. You know, they just shoot it on the floor.
The pneumatic pumps and shooting the stuff all over the
Right.
floor did
Yeah.
not sound right at
I
all.
did not break the epoxy.
He threw it on the floor in a fit of rage.
could
No,
could
I
have.
didn't.
Like his pliers?
I didn't break it, like for real.
Is it broken? Because
It's
the other
broken.
day you said it was broken. Is
Yeah,
it-
because
I
like
ordered more.
He said
I
it's
think
not shooting
G
out
was
right anymore.
G was walking and like tripped over the long blue.
Dude,
Cord.
he's got epoxy all over
Cord.
his shoes because he's sitting back there just going, and it's going all over his feet. So, I mean, come on now. Like, I come to visit once a year, and it always happens the one day of the year I come, Thomas is back there going, God, it doesn't work again.
I love it, Nick.
I think, Jake, man, you're going to, I know he's family, but I think it's Undertaker Tombstone. He's got to
It's
go.
aluminum, bro.
Oh shit.
Don't even get me started on this guy.
I feel really bad about the Sundown show. Just I feel really bad.
We're not even going to talk about that.
We're not gonna
Yeah,
talk
I'm not going to
about
talk about
it,
that. But I was here. I came in for the show last year as well, and he'd been working.
We're not going to talk about it. Here we go.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about what he did at the Sundown party.
Oh.
But I'm going to tell you what he did. So he's back there, and he's assembling motors.
I'm
And
sweating my ass off.
he's got a Pepsi can or a beer can or whatever he's doing back there after hours. And he, like, sets the can down, and then it, like, goes to stick to the motor. And I'm like, dude, it's aluminum. And he's like, oh. And I just look at Jake, and Jake's like, he's only been here, like, 4 days. I'm like, okay.
But
If
you
he
have
was,
to- you
if
have
he was
to
a
say
Sundown lifer, I was worried.
You have to say it the way that they remember it, though.
Well, we've told this story before.
Yeah, like
but it's
4
cool that
times.
we have a different perspective.
Right.
Because maybe I told it wrong.
And Nick
No,
said,
no, I said it with my, you're stupid. So I said, hey, bro.
It's aluminum, bro.
It's
Well,
aluminum,
It's not
bro.
even like it's not even that you said it. You have this look on your face, like you were sitting back.
It's
like,
the exact same look I
It's
give
aluminum,
Thomas.
bro.
It's the look I give Thomas. You're just squirting glue on the floor, you know? Sorry, JP. Back to you.
I mean, y'all can
If
talk
these-
about
if-
squirting
no,
glue on the
if-
floor.
If
you
they
want
can
to.
keep it together, I'm trying to follow your story. Go ahead.
I'm leaving.
What story was it?
I don't even know.
you were in the cotton field, then you went to
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
There it goes again. So where were we? I forgot.
You had talked about the YouTube channel and how you got hacked. and-
Yeah.
So they deleted it, and I'm like, screw this.
The
like,
life of Price.
yeah. But it wasn't that at the time. It
I
was
know.
Bag Z71. So I was like, screw this. I'm not gonna do another one because they could just do it again. That's before all the.
Didn't people think it was a conspiracy and you faked it?
I'm not. I mean, I'm sure
I feel
somebody
like
did.
that happened. Like people were like, oh, JP didn't. It's a conspiracy.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it if somebody said it, but anyway, that was before they had like the 2-factor authentication and all that stuff, like to
Right.
help like make it somewhat secure. So anyway, I was like, I'm not gonna do it anymore, but I was still going to the shows and posting on like Facebook and like SND and like the other forums. And people just kept asking, like, are you ever going to post any more YouTube videos? We were like following you on your channel. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. Anyway, the more people kept asking, so I was like, okay, I'll start doing a YouTube, like another YouTube channel. So I did, but when I had the other YouTube channel, it wasn't always just about car audio, like, and so I was like, what can I name it that would be more broad, like, because
Right.
like I would be doing.
What else
like,
did you cover other than car audio?
I mean, whenever like I go on vacation or like going skydiving or like what, like I put it all on there. So like it's like
Escape rooms.
dude.
That's now.
That's
yeah.
next. If I could take a camera in there, they won't let us like take it. Anyway,
Damn.
so I made one and I called it the Life of Price for that reason, just because I've been sharing what
You
I
have
do.
the perfect last name for that, by the way. It just works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
If-
started.
If
that.
I did like the Life of Chamberlain, nobody give a fuck. You know?
So that's what I did, and like why I called it that, just because like I put like videos of all different types of stuff on there. But anyway, I got that on there, and I was continually going to shows, and this is how I kind of went into, I guess, a business. More people, like the more shows I went to, obviously the popularity is growing. More shows I go to, more people are like noticing me from like online, like whatever it may be, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. So every time I go to a show, there's like the crowd's getting a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And then like the more people I give demos to, like the question comes up, where do you get your equipment from? And at that time, like I wasn't like even thinking about selling anything. I was just like, oh, like go to sundownaudio.com, or like whoever I was running at the time was like, just go to them and get it from them.
Back then, I think you had a lot of PSI shit in your car, right?
Yeah. So I had the PSI 18s. That was like the 418s that I had, and then I had like the 4500s. But anyway, so I was just referring the people straight back to like the company's PSI and Excess Power, and then like Sundown. So the more shows I went to, like I kept getting asked that. I'm like, this is when the light bulb went off. I'm like, man, I could be selling these people this stuff and like helping them out with this need that they have, and possibly take it somewhere. So
and at the time you were working at the airport?
Yeah, I was working at the airport.
Let's talk about that. What did you do at the airport?
Anything. I did whatever like was asked of me at that place for 10
How do you get
years.
into working at an airport? How does that work?
So let's go back to my my most difficult job. So when I got out of college, I went to. I need to braise that too. So I went to college, to Nashville Auto Diesel College. I thought I wanted to be an auto collision repair tech. So I went there to a 1-year technical course. Accumulated about $35,000 in debt in that time. I guess that's pretty standard. And then I finished like first or second in my class, like really good at like doing body work and paint refinishing, everything like that. And they were like, oh man, you're not going to have any trouble finding a job. We're going to get you on with BMW or Mercedes or like all these high end like places. I'm like, cool, man. Like I'm all about it. I want to go to work. And so I graduate and like I go home and sitting at the house and like waiting on these phone calls that they said you always hear the.
I've been through that, by the way, with car audio school. But keep going.
So you always hear the story like you can wait on the boat to come in like to pick you up, but it's not ever going to come.
Right.
Like
you got to do the work yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So everybody's always waiting for something to come by and get them, but that was me. Like I thought, like I was like, oh, they told me that I was going to have a job lined up or they were going to take care of me. So I'm just sitting here at my parents' house, like.
Thumb up
eating ho-hos and like just drinking Kool-Aid or whatever.
You know you're going to gym back then too.
I was, but I still ate like garbage though. That's one of my weaknesses, eating garbage food. But anyway, so I was doing that. And next thing you know, a month goes by, 2 months, 3 months, and I'm like, man, I'm not really paying attention to it because like I got a roof over my head. My parents are paying for everything. Like I'm set. Like why do I need to be stressing about getting a job when like it's almost like living off the government. Like everything's paid for. Like why do I need to change
That's a
anything?
lot of kids' mindsets these days too.
Yeah.
But then something sparked in your head.
It wasn't something sparked in my head. It was my dad sparked.
Here comes your
something.
dad again.
Yeah. So
cracking that whip.
So
boy, better get out my house.
Yeah, exactly what it was. My dad is like hands down like the hardest working guy like I know. Like he came over from Germany when he was 6 or 7 and didn't even know the English language and was forced into like learning and working. Like so that's all he ever knew was work because he didn't even know how to speak English. So like and like they were dirt floor poor. Like I've wrote about this on my Facebook before.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
So huge inspiration for me from my dad like on like where he's come from and like at that time like I know like he had to have been somewhat disappointed like man, I didn't raise this. Like, so, because I'm literally sitting around playing PlayStation, like staying up all night, sleeping all day, like that type of lifestyle or whatever.
It's hard to imagine that now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I can't even fathom it. And people that are probably listening to this that know me, they're like, there's no way that used to be JP. Like there's no way he used to just sit around or stay up all night playing video games. Like,
there's still people who accuse you of it now.
Maybe. But so it came. I think you get like 6 months to start to pay or to like get a job, and then you have to start paying your loan back or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was getting to be, I think it was like 5 months. And my dad worked on the river for I don't know 35 years. His entire life he worked on the river, like being a chief engineer on like a towboat going up.
Did you guys live it in a van down by the river?
No, he did. Like, I'm very grateful for what he provided for me and my family. Like coming up, he sacrificed a ton. Like I know, and like one of the biggest things he sacrificed was his time, like working, to provide for us. So, like forever grateful for that. But so when he worked, he would go and work at a month at a time, and he'd come and be home like for a month at a time. Like, so that was his split. Like he was gone for 30 days, home for 30 days. So that was his split. So throughout my lifetime, like he's really only seen me half of my life because he spent like the other half of my life on the river, like working for Ingram Barge Line. So anyway, he was getting ready to go back onto the boat. And I can remember this like it was yesterday too. And he's like, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. Like, if you don't have a job by the time I get back, like you can be ready to pack your bags. I'm like, hey, you're not going to do that. Like, you love me. Like, you're my dad. Like, in my head, I was like, okay, Dad. Like, but in my head, I'm like, you're not going to do that. Like, you love me. Like, you wouldn't kick me out of your house. Like, literally.
He's doing it because he loves you.
Yeah. But I didn't understand. Like, you just can't understand stuff like that when you're younger. Yeah. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you just think, like, if a parent does something like that to you, like, they must hate me. Like, that's why they're doing this. But anyway, so like I kind of like reach out to a few places, and they're like, well, we understand the qualifications you have, but like we're good. We have plenty of staff, but we can start you at like minimum wage. Like if you want to move to Dallas, Texas, or New Orleans, or whatever.
And you can't move for minimum wage, you know.
Exactly, and that's why I was like, I can't even move anywhere for that. So like I'm like, I might as well just stay at my parents' house and like just try to find something around here. So I stay at my parents' house, and next thing you know, like just like that, the 30 days is going by. My dad, here comes Dad, and he's like, "What are you doing at that?" He's like, "Oh, where'd you get a job at?" And I'm like, "I don't have one." He's like, "All right, go get your shit," and I'm like laugh it off, like, that's funny. Like, I've been looking. And he's like, "No, go get your stuff," and I'm like, "No, man, it's like I thought you loved me." Like, so I started trying to play that card. I thought you loved me. Like, you wouldn't like kick me out of your house. You're like, go get your stuff. So like I get a bag or whatever, and like my best friend lives like down the street from me, and so I go down there. Like, where else am I supposed to go? And I actually went to school or college with him. We did the same exact thing. Josh Carlisle was his name, and anyway, I went down there, and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I get kicked out of my house, and I don't have anywhere to go. And so I go back, like, the next day. Like I think I stayed the night within that night or a couple of nights or whatever. I'm like, man, what do I do? So I go back to my dad. I'm like, man, Dad, if you, like, have any jobs or do you know anybody that, like, could just give me a job anywhere at that point? Like, before, I was like, I just need a job in a body shop because that's what I went to college for. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, like get into that struggle as well. Like, you go to college for a technical degree, and when you get out, you're like, I'm only good for this. I only want to do this. I'm only good for this. So like you're like tunnel vision on that one thing. But at that time, I was like, I got to do something because like
you have
I
to get some kind of experience in somewhere.
Yeah, or just some sort of income.
Get kicked out of the house.
Yeah, exactly. Or I want to get back in the house at this time. Like so, so I wanted to get like I needed some sort of income. So with him being in the tow boating industry. He had worked for a company called Haley Marine Gear, like way back in the day, before he got like the job with Ingram. And he's like, I can see, like, so he goes and he talks to him or whatever, and they're like, yeah, we'll take him, like, we'll teach him how to do like gearboxes. So Haley Marine Gear is a company that rebuilds or manufactures gears, and I think they do the gearboxes as well, but for like towboats, huge ships, like these gearboxes are like, or the gears can be like the size of this room, like just one gear. Like, so this is what you're working with. Like, it's insane. So this is what I was telling you, like, hands down the hardest work of my entire life. Like, so we go, like, I start working with them. I get an income where I get back into the parents' house or whatever. I'm like generating some revenue and like working with these guys. They're like, all right, like you kind of like we're done with the shop phase, so we're gonna start sending you out with this guy named Big John. It was funny. So I take a trip with him, and we go down. And when towboats like are almost like airplanes for airliners. If they're not going, they're not making money. Like you have to keep them things going like all the time. So anyway, we go and catch this boat somewhere, and we go out to the river, and we get on this little John boat, and they like go out next to the towboat or whatever. We hop off of that. The boat's still going, so we hop off with the parts and stuff like that. And they already have like we brought some of the parts, but they already had like the big parts that we were gonna have to be doing called clutch packs, and like these clutches that like engage and like make it change gears and stuff. They're like, I don't know, probably 6 or 8 feet in diameter. Like
Holy
they're just
shit.
Everything's huge. Like you can only imagine like if this boat is pushing however many tons up the river, like against all the current to get up the river, it's got to be strong as hell. So anyway, we get on there and the parts are already on there. And he's like, all right, like let's go on down in the engine room. This is my first time like being down there. Like the work in the shop, like you're always working with torches. Like you're having to heat stuff up to make it. Like I don't know if it's expand or contract or whatever. I think it expand. Like so it'll slide down because like you're working with like millimeters to make it where it will fit
probably
over
fractions
Very
of a
small
millimeter.
tolerances, yeah.
Right. So you have to heat it up and it'll go down on there and then it seats and you cool it and it's not coming off because it's like that tight. But anyway, so we get on there. He's like, all right, let's get down in there. So I'll never forget the first time walking down into an engine bay of a towboat. Like it's
running.
While this towboat is running. Some of them have 2 engines, some of them have 3. This one had 2. So it's running up river. So it takes a shit ton of force to like push something up the river, like as it is.
It's like your other motor's running.
So yeah, so say one motor is running like wide open now, trying to like keep some sort of forward momentum going. They shut the other engine down. So when you go down into the like where the engines are in the hull of the boat, it's like the old thermometers that have like the little peg or whatever.
Right.
It's like 150 pegged, and it just sits there. And so I don't know what the exact temperature was in there. Hot as balls. Like definitely the hottest.
Just like balls.
Yeah, exactly. and a break off onto the balls down there. But I thought when I chopped cotton, like it was hot. Nothing. Like there's always different levels.
You're working in an oven basically.
So I've been there. I can't handle it anymore. But I worked 2 jobs that were hot. I sprayed truck bed liner, which was a 2-part epoxy, which got hot when it setted in a metal building in the summer. And that was not even that hot. It was like 125.
Yeah.
And I worked in a warehouse. It was a metal building. I had to get to the top racks, and they had industrial dryers running in there. Like industrial dryers the size of a 2-story house.
Wow.
And I had to go to the top rack, and it was probably 125, 130 up there, and it's not even that hot.
So you can imagine though, like, and I wasn't scared of heat. Like I've cut grass all my life out in the sun, like 100% humidity in Mississippi. Like, and it's 100 degrees outside, so it's not like I was afraid of heat or didn't know.
That's another level, man.
It makes me think of that container today.
Oh, it was bad, dude.
Imagine that container with an engine running inside of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
A 16-cylinder engine.
You're in a metal box plus an engine that's probably 300 degrees heating the room.
No,
I couldn't even fathom how hot that was.
It's insane. So mad respect to the people that still do that.
Oh no, was Big John, Big Jim, Big John? Was he fat?
No, he was a big dude. Like he had some sort of stockiness to him. Well, sweating doesn't. I think there's a misconception that sweating makes you lose weight, but like. You can sweat as much as you want to. There's a small amount, but you have to be physically doing something like to. And at that time, like he was sweating, but he was pointing a finger at me. Take that bolt off. Like do this. Like I was the do boy. So I was like the one, and I was working out hard at that time or whatever. So I was in really good shape.
Yeah. With that heat.
Yeah. So anyway,
I wouldn't work out if I had that job.
Right.
You don't need to.
I've always I guess operated on a little bit different level. Like even though I was working like in that type of environment, I would still get off and go hit the weights. Like I've always been like that type.
When I was younger, I was like that.
Yeah. So anyway, we go down into there, and I'm just like I'm hit with this like wave of like I'm like holy hell.
That's next level heat, man.
Yeah, I'm just hit with this like wave of heat. Like it's in Mississippi. I mean, it wouldn't matter where you were because like the humidity, you're on the water, so the humidity is thick anyway. So anyway, I go down in there, and he's like, "Okay, you have to get under this gearbox. It's called a center bolt. You have to get under the gearbox."
And big as shit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like this bolt is like I don't know, probably like 5 inches. Like the nut that's on the bolt that holds it together.
That's what you tell people, 5 inches.
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish up some shit.
We'll see you, Thomas.
See you tomorrow,
Have
bro.
a good night.
Hey, like your story's cool, but I'm out.
That's intense, man.
But so anyway, he's like you need to get under there and get on that bolt like with a wrench so I can get it from the top with the like there's like I don't know it's like a 1-inch impact or whatever. So anyway, I get under there and like there's a catch pan that has all the oil and grease and everything like that that's already dripped down into there.
Oh yeah.
So I come out looking like a swamp monster, man. Like I'm just literally dripping oil and like just covered head to toe in grease.
So for those, we're gonna call this a little short here. So for those that think JP has just had it his whole life,
No.
Listen to the shit that he's had to go through just to get to where he is now.
That's why he's so good at what he does now.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for like to be
You
like
come from humble beginnings, basically. You know, you had to work your ass off to get to where you are.
Yeah, most definitely, and that that was the hardest job like I've ever done. The hottest, like most difficult, like physical labor.
I can't even imagine another 20 degrees over what I was in.
Right.
So this segment of the show is running kind of long. I just kind of want to get us to where you are now as quick as you can, because then we're going to cut to commercial and we're going to get to the fans' questions.
Okay. So to fast forward from like college, and then like we were, I was going to shows and people were asking me like, where
you'll
you
be
get
in
this stuff?
tomorrow too. You can swing in and just tell the rest of your story.
Yeah. So anyway, people started asking me when I would go to these shows, like asking like, where do you get your stuff from? And at first I was referring it to like back to the companies that were like sponsoring me at the time, and then the light bulb went off, and I'm like, man, I could set up like some sort of store and be selling this stuff to the people or whatever, helping them out with this need that they have for car audio, and it just kind of stemmed from there, like in the shortest form. Like obviously there was a lot of learning, and
I remember when you were still, I think it was you were running Certified Basshead. That was your first thing, right?
When you started for me is about the time we started dealing with JP.
Yeah. That's correct. And then there was a point in time where you transitioned. You left the airport job.
I got fired.
Okay, I was going to be nice about it, but okay.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to be, and I think like one of the biggest thing about me is like as I put it all out there, like I don't like
you're translucent as you can be. Yeah,
yeah, I don't
transparent, whatever.
Lucent.
Yeah, you're see through. So yeah, you lose your job at the airport, and you're like, fuck, what do I do?
Exactly.
I remember
when that happened.
You came to us like, hey, I want to do this. I want to really do this. Because you were selling our products before that, but then you went full force.
It was like small time, and then like almost overnight, you sold your truck, right?
I hadn't sold it yet. So like to tell that little part of the story. So I had met Jessica or whatever, and we had gotten serious, and like I was flying out to Vegas a lot to visit her. Like it was pretty much taking all the money that I had to like go visit her or whatever. But I knew I cared a lot about her, so I wanted to like pursue that. So anyway, like as time went on, I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna be able to continue this relationship living in Mississippi or whatever. I'm gonna have to move out there because there's nothing really. We have Alyssa or whatever, and she has a good dad and everything. So I couldn't just be like, oh, you need to bring Alyssa and like come to Mississippi and screw like her dad or whatever. Like
it's hard to do.
He's a good guy. Like so like so the only
it takes a big man to say that.
Yeah, he does. He's a good guy, and like, and he does a good job. Like sometimes, like I wish it would be so much like easier, like if we had like full custody and like and like I could be this superhero of a dad. Like I knew she loves me to death, obviously. Like
he's still in the picture, and he's doing a good job.
Yeah. He's a good guy, and like they do like a lot of stuff together. They go out of town, everything. So, but anyway, learning from that, I knew I was gonna have to move, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna come up with this master plan. I'm gonna work Yeah, master plan. So I'm gonna work at this. Like I had accumulated where I was getting. This was my 10th year at this place. So I was like, I'm gonna work the rest of the year, and when my vacation time restarts, I'm gonna use all that time at the first of the year, move all my stuff to Vegas, and then like get my 3 weeks of vacation or whatever. I'm out, bro. Like that was my plan.
Right.
But as we know, like life will always throw you curveballs. So in July, I get cut. So I'm like, well, like I don't really have that much money. I think I had saved. My dad always preached saving or whatever. But I think I had saved like I don't know, like $10,000 or something. This is my personal money.
Pretty substantial.
That's not easy to do.
Oh no, not
now.
at all. But like I did, my dad's always preached like saving, like save for rainy.
I have zero savings. I'm 32. I have zero savings.
Yeah, and that's not abnormal. But like my dad,
we gotta have your dad on the show. He can give everybody financial lessons.
Yeah, I'm like though his views I think they were good for his time, but like he's really tight. Like he doesn't like he's done very very well for himself and but
sounds like my dad.
Yeah, but he doesn't like want to spend any of his money. He's accumulated it all over his lifetime or whatever. But so he taught me to save, like and how to work. Like I knew, like I would work my ass off and I would save. But a lot of times I would just save to go blow it on something. So, but at that time I'd I'd saved about $10,000, and I'm like, so I get cut. I don't have a job. And I'm like, man, what do I do? And by that time, like as y'all know, I had started like purchasing, like just doing drop ships. Like I'm like, hey, I sold this, like, but it was. Maybe like one thing a week, maybe?
Yeah, it wasn't a lot, but it was enough. And your YouTube channel kind of helped you sell your product.
Right. So I started.
And that was through Certified Basshead at the time, right?
No. Like Certified Basshead was my brand that I still have. But it was, so it's always been Down for Sound. Down for Sound started as a forum, but I cut the forum when that fell off. Like forums, we know, like are dead. Everything's Facebook and Instagram now. So, but anyway, at that time there was kind of a transition period. So I cut that off and just turned it into a store, but it was like super duper slow. Like, because I think the only thing I was selling was like excess power batteries and Sundown audio on there. So if I got to sell like once a week or once every 2 weeks, I was ecstatic. But it opened my mind to like, oh, I could see what this could be. Like if I could go to 2 sales a week or 3 sales a week or whatever, it could snowball from there. But I wasn't there yet, and I got cut. So I was like, holy crap, like what am I going to do?
I remember that, man. You hustled quick.
It was like overnight.
Yeah, it was.
Seriously overnight.
And then after all that, was it when you moved you sold the truck?
It was after I moved. I sold the truck.
Jake's all about you selling the truck.
No, that was a big move in JP's part because he basically invested all that money.
Right.
I did. I think I pretty much sent the whole entire amount to Jacob. So, but at that time, I was like, I took a few days to kind of. I'm not a really fast decision maker when it's something so like serious. I try to like.
It's scary.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay,
There's
I need
a lot of
to
risk involved.
And your emotions get the best of like people a lot of times. So
absolutely.
So I try to like, I was like, okay, like I'm freaked out right now because I don't have like my income got cut. So I need to sit down, regroup, and kind of go from there. So a few days later, I'm like, man, this is the only thing I can try to do is like sell more car audio. And I knew Black Friday was coming up, and I'm like, crap, okay. I'm going to take everything that I have, and I'm going to place an order with Sundown.
I think you sent us an email. It was about, hey,
I remember sending it.
This is what I want to do. This is what.
And he did it.
I remember that.
And anybody that wants to hit on JP, sorry guys, we got no room for that.
We took you in,
that's
and
it
works. It just worked. By the way, like a NASCAR driver, go ahead and give a shout out to all the brands that you sell for.
Man, I can't even list all of them now. It's become a lot, but it definitely Incriminator audio, Sundown audio, excess power batteries. Man, it's a lot of them. Like I just can't I can pull out a business card real quick and say it, but
you do real well with MechMan, I believe.
Yeah, I do like a ton like
Crescendo.
Yeah, MechMan, Crescendo, DC audio, Amper audio, Crossfire.
Yeah,
Roger. You know what? I like Roger. He's a cool guy.
Roger's a pretty kick-ass guy.
Yeah,
I finally got to meet him in person at your show, the Triple Fest. That was a kick-ass place, by the way. That was an awesome show. I actually really enjoyed your show.
Here, hold up the business card. There we go.
Where is it? Oh, let me read them out. Anyway, that's gonna take too long, man. I know you're trying to catch a break.
You're good. Just go to downforsoundshop.com. It's with the number 4. So downforsoundshop.com. Check out what he's
Hard-working
selling.
ass
He's got a
motherfucker.
buttload of stuff. Let's go to a commercial, and we're going to get to the fans' questions.
Let's do it.
Are you sick and tired of playing sloppy edits with squared off sine waves? Want a moment of clarity? Then sit back and relax and experience what it's like to get rustified. When it comes to transforming new hits and old classics into the best street bangers, ain't nobody got the sweet sounds of the 808s like Russ. With frequencies ranging from spleen busting high end to digging all the way down low into the subsonic abyss, Rusticals has what you need. Sundown After Dark has teamed up to give you an exclusive offer to save big on his iconic sound. So pull out your mobiles and browse your way over to www.djrusticals.com and pick up your preloaded DJ Rusticals Fire Stick USB today. Go ahead and save 10%. Use promo code After Dark. That's www.djrusticals.com and use promo code After Dark at checkout.
All right, we're back on.
Hello.
Yes. It sounds like
Why does he look like a
my mic
Russian
is not
general?
louder than everybody else's, but I have my gain in this shit just as high as
Crank
everybody
the
else.
gain.
All knobs to where, JP?
To the right.
Oh, let's do it always to the right. Oh, that sounded like shit. All right,
we need
so,
more gain.
All right,
That ain't no
so
skein knob.
now is the point in time where we get to all the fans' questions. We've had people send us voicemails, and we've had people send us messages through Facebook. The way to do that, folks, if you want to send us a voicemail, you call 252-969-0005. Again, it's 252-969-0005. You call, you leave us a voicemail, we play it on air, and we've got, let's see, we've got 3 voicemails we're going to get to, or should I say 3 people we're going to get to. One person sent like 50 messages, and I have a feeling I know who this is. I can tell by the voice. Let's see if you guys and the people listening can tell who it is, because this is...
Can we?
You should know. If you listen to... I want to give it away too much.
It's
If
like
you-
an escape room,
If
bro.
you are in the car audio industry and or are
Play it.
listen to the industry, you'll know who this is. So let's start with the first voicemail.
Hey, why does Johnathan Price look like a Russian general that got discharged for aggressive behavior towards capturees and now is trying to take over the White House? Why is that?
I mean, technically speaking, he's pretty close because he just said a while ago his dad's German. So
Germany. They declare war against the world.
Russian
do you know-
and German is the same thing.
Do you know German?
No, I don't know.
Speak as a
I know
Deutsch.
like 2 words.
So with that
Kiddushane
one,
and
with
Dunkashane or Dunkashane
with
or
that
something like
one sound clip, do we know who that is?
I do.
The clue.
And I'll give you a head,
Fucking the clue.
That's all I had.
Hey, I'll give you a heads up, JP. If these guys ever ask you to be on their show, don't do it. They'll say it's going to be like
Oh,
an
is that
hour.
fucking Brett?
Yeah,
It is
It's going to
Brett.
be an hour and then like 3.5
Brett
hours
Lawfarn,
later.
yeah, from Everyday Audios.
Yeah, fucking Brett cracks me up, man.
So he's got a bunch of other questions.
Hey, JP, if you wanted to, you could read his phone number on the air and get everybody to call him. He would love that.
That is his phone number.
I won't do him like that.
Don't
You
do
know,
it like
actually,
that.
actually, no. If you notice, and you'll notice every time we play one of his clips, there's like a beep. I bet you this is a bullshit number.
It's
Watch,
Brett.
watch,
Brett's not doing that.
Listen.
Hey,
See?
why does Bryan Chamberlain look like a Samoan cover band from the 80s?
Thanks, buddy.
Are you saying he's fat?
Hey, I was losing weight, not anymore.
That'd be Jake's son.
Hey, why does Jacob Fuller look like Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Building Subwoofers?
Sorry, bro.
Hey, why does Derek Haddock look like they always forget to put no onions on his hamburger?
Because they probably
Walk
fucking
on.
do, man.
Hey, why does Johnathan Price look like a Office Depot store manager that won't accept a coupon if it's a day late?
Gotta play by the rules, bro.
He just keeps going.
Hey, why does
Holy
Bryan
crap,
Chamberlain
that's
look like an
insane.
owl with high cholesterol?
As you wipe your face.
Yeah, I'm sweating like crazy, dude. Oh, we got some funny business there. All right.
Hey, why does Derek Haddock look like the raccoons always got in his trash can?
Garrett Attic.
Yeah, the Google voice to text looks it's retarded.
Get rustified.
What's the most amount of weight Johnathan Price can stack on his hair before it crumbles?
48 pounds.
At least 48 pounds.
Well, what gel do you use, by the way?
It's good Aussie. If you go on my Facebook
I use
page,
I use the Gentleman's Republic. They sell it in a 64-ounce jar.
That sounds expensive, Jake.
64-ounce
Of
jar.
course it is. He owns a multi-billion-dollar company.
I use that yellow tube. It's called Got to Be Glued.
Nah, man,
I love
the
that
Gentleman's
shit.
Republic in 64-ounce jar is like $30 on Amazon.
That's not bad because it Got to Be Glued shit's like $6.
I buy the Gentleman's in bulk because the 16-ounce
deal.
The 16-ounce container is like 15.
Sam's Club.
The 64
fucking
ounce.
tub of
Do you know they sell a 50-gallon drum of lube on Amazon? It's like $4,000.
Are there really Samoan cover bands? Is that a thing?
You shut your fucking dirty mouth.
You damn right there are, Donnie.
The Rock is in all of them.
All right, here's another one. Let's go to this next voicemail.
What's up, guys? This is Aaron from DS18. First off, I have to apologize. DS18 will not be making the Sundown.
Bro.
I know we're going to be greatly missed, but please don't cancel the event. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic without it. I digress, though. I have two questions for you guys. The first for the super famous Johnathan Price. Mr. Price, what business model do you look up to the most and try to form your business around, and why?
Let's get to that first.
Threw me for a loop.
Is it the Aussie, the gel company?
Yeah.
Well, you read a lot of business books, right?
Model.
Oh, dude, yeah, he's all about like entrepreneurship.
What's that guy's name? The Grant guy that you like?
Grant Cardone.
The 10X
10X
people.
bro.
Yeah.
I don't business model. I'm not really sure.
I'll give you an example to kick you off. I admire JL Audio for their business model.
I mean, as far as like admiring businesses and like business people, like I mean, it'd definitely be Jacob. Nick's a great one. Scotty at Excess Power, like much love for them for sure.
Right.
And I mean, they've all done well. And I've like, I guess like consulting with like mentor wise, I would consider Jacob and Scotty like two of my top like mentors that I like consult with on. And really I take people, if they've already been somewhere and done something, like I really like look to them and like when they talk, like I shut up and like really listen. Like a lot of people don't know when to shut up.
He really does do that, by the way.
Yeah.
And so I really try to absorb things from these people that have already been there and done it, because a lot of people don't understand the value that they provide, and it's over the long term is like you can't put a price on it.
I'll tell you one thing though. I actually like to go back to JP because he's such a good.
Did you get his dad joke at the end there?
Yes, I did.
He smiled.
I like to go back to JP sometimes because he's taken everything to. I mean, he's taken everything to the natural progression of the next level. And sometimes now, when I'm designing a product, I'm like, JP, what do you think about that? Like, what are you selling? What's your opinion? Do you think this? Do your customers, is this what they're looking for? You know, so I like to go back to him too. But yeah, I'm a JL Audio. I feel like JP is like. I'm trying to think of a good example of what he is. He's almost like a next level sound domain. You guys remember sound domain used to be huge?
Oh yeah.
So a lot. JP's like the next progression of that. You know, continuing into the new age of social media.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's more like a new age Crutchfield. You know,
Okay, yeah. Crutchfield's a good example.
Crutchfield had the
would be a
magazine you used and everything,
Yeah.
but you know, as they got bigger, they have more of the corporate feel. JP has more of the good old boy feel. So
Right.
you get
I feel like JP would be like the
You haven't lost your roots
the
yet.
Crutchfield for everybody.
Yeah, you haven't lost your roots yet.
You know?
That's a cool thing.
And,
Don't
you know,
hopefully it won't
no
be
hate
again.
no hate on Crutchfield because they're a great company. I've heard some stories about their customer service. It's like unbelievable.
Man, I like, and that's something I want to put out there as well. Like, if I don't like offer a product, like if somebody say is looking for like a CD player or a dash kit or something like that, Crutchfield, man, like
Their tools are amazing. Their
I have
tools
to
are
say,
amazing.
man, when I was a teenager, just becoming a big into car audio, it was Crutchfield. I couldn't wait for that new catalog to come in.
Oh yeah, everybody.
It was like,
and
was
that's
it
why.
quarterly?
JP's like the new Crutchfield, maybe.
I was like, oh man,
it's
what
even
new,
better than Sound
it's
Domain.
like, what new head units are out these days, and why is it that much cooler? Like I think
that JP is going to be the next guy. Maybe his website will have the fitment utilities and all that. Where's that Mark guy? Where's Mark?
Right, Mark Vanderswag.
I can't remember how to say his name.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, but yeah, Mark Vanderswag. He's one of the ones.
I actually like that guy. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's definitely helped.
You know, they're not too far. They're only about 3 hours away from here too. I would love to visit Crutchfield.
Yeah, and you know, JP's
mad
like
props to them.
JP's like the enthusiast Crutchfield. You know, Crutchfield is like the big guy. You know, and JP's like he's busting in the door.
The bigger the market becomes and everything becomes more Amazon Prime, where you just push a button and buy something, there's a disconnect there. So I think the enthusiasts like the personal touch.
JP's here. Right? He's here right now.
Yeah,
he's talking to you guys. That's important. You know, people like to say that JP's too big to talk to people. I've never seen that.
No.
I've talked to some people that
I mean, can you imagine?
I've talked to some people. They thought that JP was not as warm as they would anticipate, and it's not on purpose. He's a busy guy, you know, and like I feel like any miscommunication between JP and a customer is just a miscommunication.
This speaks for anybody in this room. Legitimately, all of us here deal with this on a daily basis.
JP's got more energy than me, but I get exhausted sometimes, you know, and
like,
it's hard for me to like be as cool to the next guy, you know, and it's not on purpose. You know, I really love everybody.
We get messages and emails and messages and emails and constantly from just standard fans and customers that ask standard
Nick's like
questions.
that too. Nick's like that.
Nick, I email you. It may take a week for you to respond. You know what? I understand. That's why I don't
throw him under the bus.
Know.
It's a good response.
I know you'll get to me. You know what? I do the same damn thing, dude. People email me. I hope to God that they're still waiting for my email.
You know what Nick's got though?
I get back to them.
Nick's got Trisha. If you need some shit done.
Yeah, we
usually
do count on her for a
usually
lot of
the
things.
emails I send him are like very specific on certain things.
Yeah.
Trisha knocks that out.
You got to hit that aluminum, bro.
The problem that we get into with that is, you know, when we do get an email or do get a customer that calls, you know, sometimes helping them takes 30 minutes on the phone.
Hey, can anyone contact Huggy directly?
He goes through email, you know, primarily.
How do they email Huggy?
David at IncriminatorAudio.com.
There you go.
Let him get at it.
Get out, David. I end up talking to him a lot at the shows. I really like him.
Speaking of Incriminator, I think tomorrow. I'll talk about this more. Tomorrow we're gonna have like a revolving door here as a show, and we're gonna talk
Where's
a lot.
Huggy? Is he coming?
We're gonna talk a lot about Incriminator, so we'll definitely talk a bunch about your stuff.
What's your other guy that comes to the shows?
Willie. Willie comes to the shows as well too.
There's a taller guy with the short hair.
Let's go ahead and get to Aaron's second part of his question. Jake, I think this is for you.
Can't remember.
Second question would be for subwoofer master Jacob Fuller.
Hey, buddy.
You kind of touched base on this quite a few episodes ago about the flat wound coil and how first it was failing on you guys and then it was corrected. What exactly was corrected?
He wants the
from
secrets.
failing, and how do you compare the flat wound coils of today versus the Chinese coils of today?
Hold on. Do you want to give DS18 all the information now?
No, Aaron's cool, man.
We love Aaron. Aaron's actually really
back
awesome
in the
guy.
day, like sometimes you'd have issues with the flat wound coils outgassing and stuff, and all these guys know about that. And Precision Economize developed their baking process to a higher level now. So, like, I mean, that's really all there is to it. It's hard to get a good flat wound coil out of China because they don't have the baking process down. Precision has a lot of proprietary processes, and they show them to me, and I'm not going to talk about them. But they do their shit, and they do it well. So if you're not buying your flat wound coils from Precision, you're probably getting second-rate flat wound coils.
You're messing up, bro.
Yeah, I agree. They've got it down to the type of glue they use, how they
It was
spin
so
them,
cool to watch
how
their
they-
machines.
how they bake them. But yeah, I'd say, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago when we started getting into the high power stuff, they had never seen that before.
Yeah.
So you get into a factor where the glue gets hot, it starts gassing, then it causes a bubble on the inside of the former, and then the former rubs the pole. And it's just a thing. But you know, it's like everything else. You know, we went from an era where
1,500 watts was a lot.
12 to 1,500 watts was a big
just
boy
thinking
amp.
about that.
And then one day we woke up and we had 5,000 watt monoblocks. So it was a transition period. So
and they've done a hell of a job.
Yeah.
They've really caught up. And Nick's doing something cool. He's doing these big ass, like 4+4 8 layers, and like I had tested them a long time ago, and they just weren't ready for the prime time. And Nick's got them in his big bad boys, and they're killing it. Judges, wardens, just killing it.
Yeah, they work really well. Like I said, it's just like everything else. It's an evolution. So, you know, I think a lot of people look at car audio brands, whether it be Sundown or Incriminator or any of those companies, and they kind of see the figurehead, which in this case is me or Jacob, and I think they, we're kind of the visionary, and we kind of make the show run. But there's a lot of people behind the scenes that go into. I mean, there's a whole army of people here at Sundown and a whole army of people at Incriminator that make
squirting glue on the ground.
the squirting glue on the ground. Making it run. Yeah,
I mean, I'm gonna hand it to Nick right now. Like Nick Wright. He is he's one of the big boys in high powered car audio.
Yeah.
He has led the charge in a lot of ways.
If you go to the lanes, if you go to the shows and you go to like the Mecca lanes, DB Drag, you're going to see a shit ton of Incriminator.
And he's done a lot of cool shit. Like, man,
the
first Warden was something. The first Warden was something. And like, I remember talking to him about how he's putting together. Oh man, it was crazy.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that charging Neo is not something you can really do unless you want to spend 6 or 7 figures to be able to have a machine to do it. So we used to have to assemble these motors live, and we used to have a sleeve that went over the pole, and we had what I call Chinese throwing stars, and they had a hole cut in them so that it could slide over the pole, and the throwing star part was where the columns went in, and we used to slide them in jig style, and then we would put bolts in like an overhead crane, and we would drop the top plate down, and when we got within a foot or so,
crazy.
It would pull tight, and then we had these big, long bolts, these metric M8 bolts, and then we would align them and then lower it down and then tighten them up. And thank God we don't have to do that no more, because if we did, we'd be missing some fingers.
A lot of people sleep on Incriminator because they don't always see all the Incriminator on the forums and stuff. But man, Incriminator is doing it.
We're trying.
Yeah, you're kicking ass. Well, you got your hands in a lot of things. You're kicking ass, dude.
Yeah, we do have our hands in more things than.
I love Nick's. We call Nick the spider Nazi because his spiders are the way they are. Yeah, and it's like, you don't like it, fuck off. Right. This is the way I make them. This is what I think is good. And I mean, they're good. Like, I'm just saying, like, we do things different nowadays, but like, this is the cool thing about Incriminator and Sundown. Like, our products are just so different. Like, if you want this, buy Incriminator, and I'll tell you that.
We'll talk
if you
about
want
this,
then buy Sundown.
We'll talk about this more tomorrow. But is everything built in house still at your place?
We build everything from the lethal injection up, so 1,000 watt.
Okay.
Well, that's been my tagline forever.
It's everything 3-inch coil, right?
Yeah, so that's my tagline forever. But actually, that's not true, because way back in the day, we started building the flatline, and that's a 600 watt driver. So everything from the flatline and up, which I don't really promote that driver because the SQ guys.
What about the new flatline with the Neo Cup? Do you guys build that one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we build that one in house too.
And you guys are still stacking spiders.
Yeah, we're one of the few companies that
they're good at it too.
That doesn't use packs. We press everything. We got a
because using
method.
Packs is hard in a different way, but then stacking spiders is hard in another way.
Next time we go to Alabama, I really want to go to his facility. I want to see.
You can't talk about it. You can't talk about it.
I'll sign the NDA if I have to.
He wouldn't let me look at it.
I've got to see how you guys do the shit.
You can't say anything about it.
You get to see the front.
I'll sign your paperwork. Whatever you need.
You're gonna have to wear sunglasses too the whole time.
You go through. He gives you the tour, and you get back to the front office. Look at this pin.
Brian's gonna be on After Dark and have too much whiskey. Be like, let me give you the play-by-play.
After I take my pants off, I'm gonna.
JP's been to my office a couple times, and he's even stayed at my house, and he doesn't understand why he can fully turn my house, but he can't get past the reception desk.
Nick is like, he's such a methodical motherfucker. Like, he's like, no, this shit works. I ain't fucking with it.
So we all know that usually during the Sundown show, the Friday before is usually a party, right? So what we do is
that's the only reason we come.
Exactly. We'll prepare the building for such a thing. We'll move things out of the way. We like to hide things. We have to.
Love pinatas.
Yeah.
Do you hide Thomas? Because the glue machine's got to be put up.
We hide him a little bit.
Yeah, we hide things because we don't.
Boxes around
certain people
Thomas.
see certain things. There's still secrets in the industry, and we have to keep it that way. All right, we got one more voicemail. Let's get to that one.
Like, what products would have?
I got to rewind it.
Yeah, you started too soon.
There we go. Let me turn this up because it's not very loud.
Turn my headphones up.
There we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm calling in from Vacaville, California, and I had a question.
How do you achieve that killer mid bass? Maybe from like 80 hertz to like 400. Like, what products would I have to buy? Because I've had like mid-range drivers, and they sound really good. They get really loud, but they lack in the mid bass. And I've had the Neos 6.5 V3s. Those are really cool. And I had the Arnolds. And like I said, I like them a lot, but they don't have a ton of mid bass. So what kind of mid bass drivers would you guys recommend?
I know exactly.
And also,
can I get in there first?
How do you achieve that bass that you can feel, like the crush, the chest crushing bass, not the windy bass, just
880 plus,
the really insanely intense bass that feels like you're being electrocuted. Thank you so much.
All right.
Goodbye.
I'm going to throw my little interjection in there first and I'll let Jake take it from there. I think a lot of it has to do with the install itself. You can get a lot out of any speaker mid-bass wise if you do an install a certain way. So let's say your doors, for instance. There's a specific way you can do your doors to get the most out of it. Sealed as best as you can. I know there's companies like Second Skin that have specific.
There's an amp blocking the hole.
That have specific.
You would have made it.
I forget what they're called. Anyway, you can dampen the door. You can deaden the door. There's a lot of things you can do to your doors just to get the most out of them, to get the most out of that speaker.
Yeah.
Now the speaker itself makes a big part of that. And I'll let Jake take over on that.
I mean, you're
part.
talking 80 to 400. That's real mid-bass territory. That your sub shouldn't be doing much above 80. Like you really shouldn't be calling your sub there. So we've come out with a new driver. We have our Vex 10 coming out.
Yep.
If you want strong ass mid-bass and at 8 hertz, you need a big driver. Still, you need like a 10 or an 8. You're not going to get mid-bass that will crush you at 80 hertz with a 6.5. You need a 10 or an 8. That's what you need. You need a big, powerful ass driver. I'll tell you one of the best mid-bass setups I ever heard. Neil Barber, SBN, several years ago, he had like 15s in his doors. And that shit was just retarded. And it's a big driver scenario. Like, that's why the clubs run like 15s. You know, if you want to crush 80 to 400, you need a big driver. You need to move air. You still need to move air.
In order to do that, you got to have custom
and
door panels.
And your door needs to be set up right. You can't just throw a 6.5 in the door. It's supposed to be crushing 80 hertz. It's not going to happen. You know, and we're gonna come out with a 10.
I will say the Neo Pro does have a decent mid bass.
The Neo Pro has a great mid bass, but I mean, even with the Neo Pro, you're not going to crush 80 hertz with a 6.5.
I know what this guy's going for. Basically, he's going for that live. If you ever go to a concert,
concert sound,
that live sound, where it's just
concert
like,
level
boom,
speakers,
boom. It's like a punch.
That's why JP has like 98,000 10s in his truck. You know,
pump it.
Yeah, your shit sounds fucking amazing. By the way,
that's why you need
that new build. That new build you did, yeah. And
one of the reasons I designed the Vex 10 the way I did is so it can survive that cabin. The Vex 10 has a carbon fiber cone. The paper cones can't take 160 dB.
Every time I go
pretty fast.
Every time I go to a show and you're there, I still take video of it because I'm like, man, it sounds awesome. So
it still needs some tuning, but it's not bad.
But it looks good. Who did that again?
Did you fix the armrest?
James Taylor V2.
Yeah, we have to give a shout out to James Taylor.
Yeah, shout out to James. He did
everybody in cardio is named James Taylor.
Yeah, Tech 12 volts.
No, he's a different James Taylor. We have James Taylor Tech 12 volts. Been my dealer since I started the company.
Yeah,
he's got his James Taylor, which is a different guy. But they're both old school installers.
What's the name of his company again? I don't remember.
High voltage car audio.
High voltage, yeah. Amazing work.
Yeah, be sure to check him out. High voltage car audio.
He has a middle initial, James something Taylor.
R.
He's gonna be doing some more pretty soon, isn't he? I mean, don't you got to get some more salt amps in there?
Salt.
I tried to get Jacob to get me some, but he said no.
I'm working on it, man. Don't worry about it.
See, the problem is I always have to be some sort of special, and my charging system is a little bit too high for the new salt amp, so they have to be somewhat finagled.
We're gonna do a salt, JP.
Well, we got you'll.
Dude, you know how salty people would be if there was a salt 12 JP.
Didn't Scotty have custom tires for his van back in the day that said Scotty Johnson on them or some bullshit?
Probably.
Everybody loves Scotty Johnson.
Let's remember that for tomorrow. All right, so that was the phone. That was the phone calls. Those are the voicemails. Again, phone number is 252-969-0005. If you want to leave us any voicemail about anything at all, period, you can shoot us a message there. Now, on Facebook, you can go ahead and go to the Sundown After Dark Facebook page and shoot us a message. And that is what we're going to read off today. There's a guy named Justin Birtle. He sent a question to JP.
Shout out to Justin Birtle.
And his question is, I just want to ask, why is there so much hate for JP?
Hey, I got a story, actually.
Hold on. His question says, he runs such a great business and always takes care of his problems, or any problems. The hate seems to come from nowhere. And you know what? That is kind of true, Justin. And I'm still clueless to myself. What happened? What's that all about? I think it's because you're just so prevalent on social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a story. It's actually
people don't know
Slamology. From Slamology, I was selling the shirts or whatever at the Sundown booth, and this guy came over, and he's like, "Oh, I like your shirts." I'm like, "Yeah, we got this." And she's like, "Hey, what you think about JP?" I was like, "I mean, we don't play Monopoly together or anything like that. We're not like board game tight or anything like that. But yeah, I like JP. He's like, he just sells shit." Like,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
I think, you know what I think it is, and I'll throw this out there. I think you're really good at the social media hype. You know what you're doing. You start shit on purpose.
He does sometimes.
Because it brings people, it gets people talking.
It raises a little bit of awareness.
Right. In person, this guy is not the person that you see creating all that bullshit online.
Yeah.
He's a very humble human being. So
I'll tell you what really upsets me. There's a guy that I really like and respect that doesn't like JP, and I'd really like to get them together sometime.
Uh-oh.
There was like a
Don't say his name.
I'm not going to say his name. There was a miscommunication with the handshake or something, and like
oh, I heard this story.
Yeah, and I really like this guy. I really he's great. He's a great dude.
Him or me? You have
both
to pick.
of you. Both of you are great guys.
You have to pick one.
No, I'm not picking one. But I think the entire reason that he doesn't like you is just like a miscommunication. So I'm like, no, I'm not okay with this. Like, this guy is great, and he's a cool guy, and I would really like him to like think JP's cool. I'm not cool with this. You know, so I'm gonna get you guys together at a show sometime.
It's like in day-to-day life.
Be here this weekend?
Unfortunately, not. He's from far away.
It's like in day-to-day life when you have two really good friends and you can't pick one versus the other. You just wish they would like each other.
Like this dude is like, if he only heard your stories about the cotton fields and the gear in the airport, he'd be like, "Oh, fucking JP, he's the best guy that's ever lived."
Yeah,
but
you should play the story like to him and not let him know who's talking. Well, he probably recognize my voice.
Yeah.
But if you could play it to him and like let him hear the story, and there's like, that dude sounds like a good guy.
I really like this guy.
That's JP.
I really like this guy,
Oh.
and it's unfortunate that he had a bad scenario with you.
Shit happens.
And I'm like, man, I gotta fix
Some
this.
people hold grudges.
I mean, it really
Some
is
people hold
unfortunate.
grudges. It's just the way it goes.
I really like this guy and really respect
so anyway,
him.
JP, what do you think about that? This guy's question. Why do people hate you so much? Or why is that's a fucked up way from me
I don't
saying
think
that. Why is there
I
hate?
hate you so much? I really think it is just because of having a really large social media presence. Like anytime you put yourself out there, like you're putting a target on your back for like anybody to try to say something about you.
Yeah.
So, but that comes with the territory, and I know how the game is played, and a lot of times, 99.9% of the time, I play it the way that I want it to be played. And a lot of times, like I'll even post I'm going to do something, and like the haters will still play like right into my game.
Dude, that happened to me.
Like
the whole Slamology thing.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you were talking about charging for demos. The
Speed pass.
The speed pass.
Oh, man.
I thought that was real the whole time, and then
I totally did too.
And then I saw you at Slam. I was like,
Hey,
dude,
I bought one.
I saw you at Slam. I was like, dude, how much money did you make on this? He's like, dude, that was bullshit. Like, no shit.
Scotty did the same thing to me. I won the date with Scotty Johnson at that Power
He
Show.
took all of us on a date.
I don't know, man. I think it's just people don't know him, and they're just like miscommunicating with what he really is.
I think it just comes down to there's two types of people. There's people who are humble and want to see other people succeed, and there's people who are jealous, and you either fit in one or two categories.
Yeah, they want to be successful. They want to be where you're
and I think
at.
that some people just don't understand. Like they don't know where JP came from.
Right.
Or for example, JP and me, like we meet a lot of people, and like sometimes I meet people at the show, and I'm tired, or he's tired, and they don't have the.
How many people
the
contact
ecstatic
you on a
meeting.
daily basis? You
Like
know?
a lot.
Yeah. And this is another
As
reason
you
why I
look at
wanted
your
to bring
phone.
up your humble beginnings to see, just so people can see where you
Yeah.
come from. You know.
Yeah, there's one of the, I guess, biggest rumors out there is like my parents buying me everything. Like it was that way for a long time, especially when I
Right.
lived with my parents.
Derek gets that now.
Yeah, when I lived with my parents, that I think people look for any kind of excuse or like something to validate their inaction of not doing anything. So they're
Right.
like, oh, the only reason why he's gotten
Right.
to where he is because his parents paid for
I've
everything.
I've heard the same thing, and I've shared my story.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my dad was a coal miner and an electrician, and like he worked hard his whole life. My family's from West Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like I didn't come from anything, man, and you're the same way, you know, and that's why you get along so well.
Yeah, we vibe really well. And I mean, becoming a dealer for, if I want to put this out there as well, if anybody is thinking about becoming a dealer for an awesome product, Sundown is definitely. I got the online wrapped up, but if you want to have an awesome product to offer
Yep.
in your retail
We
store,
can
definitely
always-
hit them up.
We could always
They-
use
We
more brick
support
and
you
mortar
guys,
stores.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, they do a great job, and
We try our best to police the map pricing.
And Incriminator is the same way. That's
yeah,
you know,
for sure. Them and like Excess Power, like a ton of these guys have like been the reason for.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
guess whatever is people calling me successful, like
Yeah.
that's a big reason for it. So it's
All
awesome.
right. Let's go ahead and get to the next question. This one's from Dwayne Johnson, not
It's The Rock. It's The Rock.
It says, for Johnathan Price, excluding the brands that he sells, what would be his favorite brand?
That you don't sell.
Sundown. Oh,
Excluding.
no.
What?
Man, I don't look outside of like the brands that I deal with much at all. If I had
Let's
to,
just say before you started selling anything, what were you running, or what were you interested in?
well, like subwoofer wise, like PSI like has a great like product, and I like David a lot. I don't like sell his product, but he has a great product, and he's a great guy.
Right.
Another product or company I would say is B2.
Right.
They have I think they have some cool stuff, and as far as subwoofers goes, like if they could get it figured out like on their lead time, Fi has a really like from all the systems I've heard running FI subwoofers, like
Right. There's some
they're-
really cool looking shit too.
yeah. So that's some of the ones that I would say in our kind of realm of what we do.
For me, it was Infinity. I used to love running Infinity products before I really knew what I was doing.
I kind of like their stuff too.
I love like their speakers, their door speakers and components. I used to love their shit. The Kappa series, man. I used to love running that stuff. And then I started working at Sundown.
Yeah.
All right, so Byron Chamberlain, he likes to message us often.
It's like Scar Bryan Chamberlain.
Yeah, that's the drunk Brian. Brian Chamberlain. He says he has a multi-part question. Are there any plans to create a 6-channel amp for the three front stage?
Three-way.
How much you had to drink over there, boy?
I've had a decent amount. I asked because I'm running a 3-way set of audio dynamic components and 2 SAE 100.4s, and would love to scale down.
Let me answer that question first. Yes,
Yep.
we are working on a 6-channel.
Yeah,
I don't have a specific ETA yet, but yes, it's something I'm
waiting on that too.
Yep.
By the way.
Next part of the question: are there any plans to create a 3 or 4-inch mid as part of the X series components, or does the tweeter have such a broad bandwidth that I could use 2 tweeters and crossover my points appropriately for each? So that it's, I wouldn't suggest. Now the tweeter is technically capable of that, but what you want for an impactful music situation is you want more cone area. The tweeter has an FS of like 400 some hertz. I'm not going to tell you to play it that low.
Right.
What we're trying to do is just to keep the tweeter completely cruising in any scenario you would want.
It gives you the ability to cross it wherever you want.
I wouldn't cross it over at 500 hertz. I wouldn't suggest that. Don't do that. But
especially
the answer to your question is, would I make a 3 or 4 inch? Absolutely. I'm talking to my dealers, some of my SQ dealers. James Flanagan is one of the guys.
Mike Flanagan?
Yeah, Mike Flanagan. I mixed up his name. Mike Flanagan. And
I was just about to make the point that Jake has had more to drink than Bryan and can read way better.
Oh yeah, totally.
So he's like, nah.
I can't read out loud.
Sorry, I messed up your name, Mike.
There's a reason why I had to copy off people's papers.
I know your
in
last
English
name
class.
perfectly. So, would I consider doing it? Absolutely.
Dude, Morel makes like a 3-inch, I believe. Tweeter.
Yeah, Morel makes.
God,
Morel makes that's a 3-inch
I've
dome mid range.
heard that.
So
Oh
what
my
I want
God.
to do, this is what I want to do. I just want to throw everybody off kilter. I want to make either a 3-inch or 4-inch dome mid range with high excursion.
All right.
I used to run a DLS Iridium 3-inch dome mid range, and I loved it.
Not silk, I assume.
It was this big 3-inch silk dome.
No, the one you're thinking about making.
No, I'm gonna do a beryllium,
Yeah.
a 3-inch beryllium
'Cause
dome.
I see that silk kind of.
And I'm gonna do like a
crush it and snort it.
3 or 4 millimeter linear dome mid range, because there's so many good cone mid ranges. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna throw all this shit to the ground. I'm gonna make a high excursion dome mid range, and I'm just gonna gonna blow all the shit off the map.
Dome is one of my favorite.
I love
things.
domes because domes have they have a great dispersion pattern.
Dome.
I
like dome.
Sorry, I messed up your name.
All right, Jerry Howard, who
Jerry.
we've had on the show.
He's my cousin.
Why won't JP let me sign his T-shirt?
JP, why would you not let Jerry sign
What the hell,
your shirt?
JP?
You're not Jacob Fuller.
But he's related.
Next question.
He's related. He's related.
He's related.
Not the same.
All right, so Philip Irish, his question is, when will Donnie be back in town? I'm there till Tuesday or till Thursday. Donnie, you're going out.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah,
so,
I'll be back.
So we're having a Sundown show this weekend, but Donnie's going out of town. So.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll hang out.
All right, JP. Hopefully, I'll have the chance to grab a demo this time. Yeah, which is very hard. You know,
Get that
I have
speed
yet
pass.
to sit in your vehicle.
Philip is a dad joke master as well.
He says, "I need a discounted fast pass."
Done.
Yeah. By the way, I have yet to sit in your build. I've walked
really
around
loud.
it. I've never had you give me a demo in your vehicle.
Yeah, I tell people this a lot. Like it's not the crazy. It's definitely not the loudest thing at these shows anymore.
It's pretty fucking
like,
loud though.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, but there's a lot louder out there, and I tell people that all the time. Like, that's some of the first comments I get on my YouTube channel when we post videos of it. Nobody, like, people don't tap out, or like, you know, such and such has this vehicle. Like the last, I think I posted a comment like they were talking about Daniel Powell and somebody else, and Daniel has a great truck, and Daniel's a great guy, and like, and I like him a lot, and like his stuff, in my opinion, is louder. Like, I don't meter my
It's
stuff.
a different type of build in
Oh
general.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It is a hands down. It is a beast. Like, it is a beast.
Your
of
build
a
is not just for sound; it's for looks. It's
It
for
looks great,
It's
yeah.
for everything. It's for you. It's what you wanted. I
right,
assume.
and that's what a lot of people I think get off track on is they start asking like everybody's opinion so much they lose sight of what they want themselves. Like
Yes,
they
absolutely.
so.
Yeah.
When I always tell people, like, I have people ask me all the time, like, what do you think about my build? Like, them asking me.
You know,
and I'm
I like to hear anyone's build. I was
I'm
at
the same.
SBN.
Yeah.
I was at SBN, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name, but he gave me like a cancer survivor's wristband, and he was like, "Hey man, can you sign my amp?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I'll come by later." I was like, "No. I'm gonna follow you and sign your amp right now."
I think it was Slamology, not SBN.
it was,
Yeah,
Slam.
Slamology.
And
Oh, yeah, bought it for me. You had to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude. Like, cause like I might not see you later. I might be gone."
This
Let
guy,
me-
I remember this guy. He
He
didn't
was
have a
ca-
leg.
He had a
Yeah.
wristband and like
Yeah.
all this stuff, and he was like, "Let me. I want you to hear my build." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And I mean, for 212s, it was freaking crazy. It was
Yeah.
freaking crazy for 212s. But I'm like, yeah, I've heard 165s, but man, this is 212s.
Right.
So people need to keep that in mind. Like, not everyone's gonna have this crazy ass build, and you know, keeping in context, you can still be impressed with the builds. JP's build is not the loudest build ever. Is it great? Yes.
It's
Is it the
beautiful.
loudest
It
build that's
looks
ever been
fantastic.
done? Not necessarily,
Not
but
at
it is
all.
great in its own way.
Yeah.
Right, and that like him talking about that guy, like that's a lot of times people ask me that, what do you think about my build, or will you come get a demo of my build? And I would like to get a demo of everybody's build,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
shows like I'm swamped.
I mean, I
you
can't
can
get
see
them
the-
all
yeah.
either, but like
When you're
you know,
out,
I was
Right.
actually talking to Nick at that time, and I was like, dude, I gotta go.
One
So
thing
I'm
I've
gonna go
noticed.
hear the
One
build.
thing I've noticed. When we're at a show, and JP, let's say you go to lunch, because you'll leave the show to go to lunch. There are people for that hour that you're gone, waiting at your truck.
It's insane. Like
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's,
In line.
It's extremely humbling.
It's
like
an
that
interesting
people
feeling, is it not?
They
It's-
paid for the fast pass.
it's really like crazy to me, like that people would do that. I'm really grateful for it. Like for anybody that would wait on me, like JP from Greenville, Mississippi.
He built them gears.
Yeah, I mean that's extremely humbling. I'm grateful
Greenville, Alabama.
for the people's support that they would be willing to wait in line for 15 minutes, much less 2 hours. Sometimes it's just
And
insane.
it's hot. It's always hot.
It's insane. Like people like have like burns on their shoulders and stuff.
Actually,
waiting
the
in line.
last show that we went to, that was in Georgia. That's why I saw you
Mhm.
there. That was the Get It Loud show.
Shut it down, boys.
Shut it down,
Shut-
boys.
Oh, extreme call. Call out.
Shut it down,
Yeah,
boys.
that one.
Call
Yeah,
out,
that one. Anyway, I was in line for like 30 minutes just to get some damn food.
Mhm.
And because I was in line in the heat that bad, I had like heat stroke almost. I was this close. Like I ended up with lockjaw, like legitimate lockjaw, and I was actually scared for my health. I went in a car and turned on the air conditioning.
I was cycling that same way.
Yeah,
Like the
it
whole,
was
I mean,
bad.
not getting like that bad out
But
of
these
shape.
people wait in line in your vehicle at your vehicle for hours.
In the sun, yeah, just in the
I
sun.
thought you were gonna say you waited in line to get food, but you were actually in his demo line. There's no food here.
You're
No.
like, this isn't the food line.
Down for Szechuan.com.
So actually, at that show, there was like fried seafood, and I fucking love fried seafood. There was like oysters and shrimp and shit. I was like, man, I gotta get me some of that shit. And I waited, and they were the slowest motherfuckers I've ever had to deal with at a truck at a food truck.
Are you
What
hitting? Are you hitting for the Sundown weight loss challenge again?
We're gonna have to.
I need to lose 50
Yeah,
pounds.
we're gonna have to.
Not happening.
All right,
Referee.
Philip had one more question. It says, did you ever think Down for Sound would ever get that big? What's the next step?
Man, I definitely didn't. Like I didn't, and a lot of this happens to a lot of people. They
Happened to
think
me.
too small. Like you just can't fathom something growing to something when you just can't even see it. Like say when you were younger and you like got a job and you're like, dang, I'm making $100 a week. Holy crap! You
Right,
never made
right.
any money before. I'm
Right.
making $100 a week. This is insane. You couldn't even fathom making $1,000 a week or
It's crazy,
$1,000 a day or $1,000 an hour. Like
Yeah.
you just can't even fathom it. Like
Right.
so definitely to where it's at right now for sure. Like I couldn't, and the more people I get around and Grant Cardone and like knowing what Jacob does and Scotty does and stuff like that, I'm like, you always want to get around people that make you like they're gonna help you, but you can feel small, like because
Yeah,
that's gonna push
absolutely.
you to do more. Like because if my goal was to, I remember my first goal with Down for Sound was like, man, if I can just get to $250,000 in sales in a year,
Yeah.
I'll be good, man.
Be
Like
good.
I'll
That's
just
like
cut it off right
monthly.
there.
Yep.
Yeah. So and now like it's I think so a lot of people, and I think this may be something that may butt hurt some people, and a lot of it is probably my haters, but I don't really care. Like I share my successes or even my failures I share with people, but the numbers that Down for Sound is doing, because I know a lot
Yep.
of people follow me for some sort of inspiration or whatever, like
Right.
because now they know my story and they can put that together.
Yep.
I
I see you put numbers out there. I see you put, and you
I
show
don't-
people.
yeah. And because I'm like I said, I'm really transparent. I'm like an open book. I don't have anything to hide. Like, and if I can help somebody else, like go after something, like man, he went from like cutting grass to like just for this month, like this time last year, I was at like $110,000 for the month, and we
Right.
just went through $300,000 for this month.
For
And
1 month.
it's not even the 15th. So
that's wild for a company. It's just a retailer. For the
yeah,
most
I
part.
really
That's
just started getting
wild.
serious about this 3 years ago. But it comes down. I already like when I go to all these sales trainings and stuff like this. A lot of people like poke fun of me for it, but like I don't see any of those people doing numbers like this, and I know what it takes to
You're
keep taking
doing
it to the next level.
You're doing it to be an inspiration, and I think a lot of people. I think the general public take it that way, and it's just the haters you hear about.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll do some stuff to like ruffle their feathers, like have a stack of $100 bills or whatever, and do like those pictures like that. Because I know like people that
again,
like hate me.
Going back to the whole, you like to start some shit.
Yeah, I'll play 'em. But just for like, I couldn't have ever. Like, going back to me just cutting grass or working at the airport, like, I couldn't have ever imagined, like, doing even $100,000 in sales in a month. Like, I couldn't even imagine it, much less. Like, I think February we did, like, 880.
Right, that's
amazing. You're saying this, and I look down and I see like a stack of cash. And I think that's what I thought it was, like a stack of cash. Like that's what you're doing right now. It's like, yeah, just ruffle the feathers.
He just uses hundreds as a wallet.
No, the funny
origami fucking wallet made out of hundreds.
No, the funny thing about this is like all this money right here is to buy everybody at Sundown lunch tomorrow because they said that they only take cash.
JP.
Right, that is very true.
What are we having?
We're having Olga's gonna come do the tacos.
Mexican food. So
we've got
I always try to give back to people that's helped me like along the way and like do stuff for people. So when they like, I always try to buy people like lunch at Sundown or even like during Christmas, not just Sundown, but all the companies I'm a dealer for. A lot of people think this is backwards, but like I go and buy everybody pizza or like buy everybody
you sent gifts, actual gifts.
Yeah.
I have used like it was an Amazon gift card that you've given me, and I was like, wow, one of our dealers actually gave back to us. This is amazing. I thank you very much for that, by the way.
Yeah, we all
everyone does.
We all thank you very much.
One time, and I can't express this enough how much I thank you. One time, I think it was the last time you sent. I think it was like $100 gift card that I got. It was like a raffle thing here we did at the shop.
Yeah.
So we didn't. There wasn't a specific name. I got a $100 gift card from you for Amazon.
Right.
At that exact time, my water faucet in my house went to shit, and I needed a new faucet, and I used that to buy a new faucet for my house.
Wow, that's awesome.
So thank you.
Really cool.
Again,
yeah, my pleasure.
In person, I want to say thank you very much for that.
God bless you, JP.
No, I tried to.
And I didn't really have the money at the time because it was around Christmas time. I spent all my money on my kids.
Right, it's like the Tiny Tim of car audio. God bless you, JP. All of us.
Yeah, I mean, it is my pleasure though. Like I really like. A lot of people are like, "Don't forget where you came from" or whatever. I'm like, I know where I came from. I came from Greenville, Mississippi. Like, but no, I always like try to do stuff for people because I think once you get to like a certain point, people feel like they're entitled. Like they should be buying me a Christmas present. I'll make them all this money, like selling their product or whatever. Like they should buy me a Christmas present or whatever. But me, I'm more of like a grateful individual. I'm like, I want to show them some thanks. Like without Jacob, like for instance, I couldn't be selling millions of dollars worth of product of Sundown Audio product without him. Like it all is because he started Sundown Audio. Like if I didn't, or if we didn't go down this road or whatever, like I don't know what I would be doing. It wouldn't be selling like car audio.
Jake's probably the most giving person I've ever met.
I'll do what I can.
For 6 months, I lived in a little studio apartment in his garage when I was trying to get my life back together during my divorce period. I thank this motherfucker very much. One of my best friends, and if it wasn't for him, I'd be in a really shitty situation.
Do what I can, man. We give back. We all give back.
We're gonna have tears coming down my eyes here soon.
That's sweat.
Let's go. Sweat. Let's go ahead and get to the next question. We are running long here.
But if it's a good show, I don't think people care.
Running long.
Yeah, how do you run along on the internet? Like,
I try to keep the show under 2 hours, but sometimes.
Are we over 2 hours?
We're gonna be. All right, so Kyle Rutherford, everybody knows Kyle from DVS
Big
Designs, straight clipping.
Hands.
He says, make sure you guys use promo code After Dark to get you 15% off on your next product or your next purchase at.
Hey, that's not a question.
DVSDesignsApparel.com.
He's taking a playbook out of you, JP.
All right, so you see the shirt that I'm wearing, folks? That's Kyle. Kyle and his wife. They make these shirts. Not only do they make these shirts, they make plenty of other things. So go ahead and check out DVSDesignsApparel.com, and that's where you can use promo code After Dark, get you 15% off.
Actually, it's funny because his shirt was my first shirt today, but then I sweated on it and container, and you could like wring it out.
I need to hit Kyle up for some
Make
more.
like
I
a
actually
sweat
really like
mimosa.
this particular shirt. It's like the premium men's shirt.
Premium!
They've got 3 different sets for if you want to get an after dark shirt. They've got the women's, which gets you all the curves and
That's
contours.
what you got. That's what Brian's got on
Brian's
the
a
women's.
curvy
version.
man.
And
He's a curvy man.
they got the men's premium shirt, which is the one I am wearing, JP. And then they got the standard shirt.
Well, that code works.
There's a funny story on that. Like when I first started getting into, I guess, some sales, like I was like trying to sell T-shirts, like my down for sale T-shirts or whatever, and I always wanted to get to a point because I knew companies were giving away T-shirts. I'm like, man, I'd like to get to that level of just giving away T-shirts versus having to sell all of them. So like now we give like, if I had to guess, like over $50,000 worth of T-shirts away in a year.
Actually, I have a question. Actually, JP, do you sell like those like Yeti thermos things? Oh, yeah, I saw those at your shop. I didn't realize that you sold them.
Yeah, we
That's
have
kinda
those
cool.
too. Like usually when people request something, like I try to like make it happen unless it's super outlandish.
Where's the down for sound toilet paper? Where's it at?
People would definitely be getting that. But yeah, so when I first started, I was getting like the cheapest shirt made that I could.
Right.
And I also wanted to go to another level, or the next level, which is what my shirts are made out of now. The next level.
Nice.
Who's making your shirts? You have a local company?
No, it's actually a longtime friend of mine. I've went through so many different shirt makers. Like they can be as flaky as they come, but you find one that works for you, and they. So anyway, and same thing with sticker makers. But I finally, after years and years of looking for them, like I found like 2 people that does like a great job. So one of them is Spider Off-Road and Apparel. They're in Mississippi, North Mississippi.
You gotta say it that way.
Clyde Bynum. He's doing all my T-shirts now. They do a great job, and I do use the next level material. Like they're really high quality T-shirts now.
I do like this shirt. The shirts that you make.
Yeah, so we give away like a ton of T-shirts like a year, and a lot of them come with like free with like bigger sub and amp purchases.
All right, you spend a certain amount, you get a free shirt.
And and it can be like shirt, sticker, voltmeter, lanyard. Like you can get a whole smorgasbord worth of stuff like with your purchase. But same thing, like me just trying to give back to the people that are giving to me.
You get the used JP toilet paper.
All right. I need to get some toilet paper
signed
and put a few sheets on each amp.
Shitting on the competition.
Signatures. Hey Jake, you want to read that? This one's from Nate Schaefer.
Haven't sent them yet because you guys said y'all don't warranty canned baskets. But with where all these cracks are, knowing it's not because anything on my side, I'm really disappointed to say the least. I've had 4 SA10s, now these EV315s, blah, blah, love the products. How's it going to be? I'll take my business elsewhere.
All right. So not a happy customer.
He's pretty mad. I don't know, man.
Yep. Actually, he sent some stuff above here. I don't know what all this is. I don't know if we've gotten to it.
It's like he broke his basket or something.
Oh, he's got E-Series. And
I remember that. I talked to this guy, actually.
Yeah. Oh, he's got a whole bunch. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff. Why won't we warranty our product?
Show the video. It's like a video.
Well, I'm not.
So what does everybody else think about cracked stamp frames? What do you guys think about that?
Actually, no. Let's talk. Let's ask Nick.
Yeah, unbiased opinion because he's
99 times.
So, hold on, first off, do you use stamped frames at all?
We do on our I-Series
and
drivers.
I'm sure every once in a while you get a cracked one, right? A customer says, "I have a cracked one." And what's your response?
Most of the time, it's a problem with shipping because shipping companies damage them. But if it gets to the customer in one piece, typically what it is they don't cut they don't cut the baffle big enough.
Yep.
And it's too tight. They torque the screws down. They made the basket, or they try to do something and they don't make the baffle strong enough. The baffle flexes.
It's usually
some kind of configuration.
In most cases, it's baffle flex.
Yeah.
Now, if you look here, it says his cutouts aren't too tight, and no, I don't over torque. He actually said everything you just said. It's clearly something to do with the stamp material. So, I don't know, Nate. If you want to send them in for a warranty inspection, we'll definitely take a look at it and see what's going on.
Absolutely.
If it's more, I will say this.
Like his box.
Yeah, we can take a look at this after hours. But I will say this: if it's more than one woofer, it's almost always going to be something that's not warrantable. I mean, if it's a fluke, if it's one woofer and something's going on with that one woofer, then obviously something's up. But
right, I mean they stamp out thousands of things at one time. It's a stamp steel. I mean, this frame is used on woofers that are heavier.
Choo choo.
You know, it's generally, like, it's not a defect. Like, you're just doing some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But
Most
we
of
don't
the time,
know. We have to check it out.
Most of the time, in all honesty, it's baffle flex. I don't care how much bracing you have. It's just every once in a while, these woofers are moving.
I would want to know if it's the same area that he's getting cracked.
You think like it's a loading issue or something? Like in one woofer all the time?
Yeah, if it's the same place every time.
I think now the problem is more than what it used to be because all these guys want to invert them to make them look cool, and they with the mounting lips they don't fit flush.
They take the gasket off,
Yep.
or the gasket is not. Yeah. And the screws just sink in
and then
crack
there
the
ones
frame.
there winds up being a gap between the baffle and the basket, and then they over torque them as well.
This particular guy, Nate's, his are not inverted.
But I'm just saying that the majority of the ones, I'd say 9 out of 10.
Are they not inverted?
No, they're not inverted.
How are they mounted?
Looks like just standard mounting.
Let's take a look-see.
Let's take a look-see.
Looks like they're inverted.
Looks like inverted to me.
Is it
that one's
inverted?
definitely inverted.
Well, that might just be. We'll talk about this more later on. We don't want to bore the people.
I've
with
seen these same pictures.
But Nate, email me if you're watching this. Nate, email me Bryan Bryan at sundownaudio.com.
Certainly not going to email me. That's for
We'll
sure.
get some talking. All right, one last question for the evening. This one's from Steve Herman. Steve's a long time listener. And Jake, you want to read that too?
JP, when's the best time to get a demo of the Tahoe at a show? I've tried to get a demo for a few years, but every time I try, the line is hours long. I didn't know if there was a slower time to get in line for a demo.
No.
Get that speed pass.
Man,
Plug,
you gotta
get there early.
Plug.
Yeah, early is like.
Say, by the way,
I said plug.
By the way,
A lot of
Steve
times.
is actually coming to our show with a build for the first time, and it's going to be amazing. I love Steve's an awesome guy, by the way, and he's been here plenty of times, but he's never been to our show, and he's actually coming to our show this year, and I'm going to make sure I get a demo of his build. He's got nightshades in there.
Oh yeah,
Nice. The best time to get a demo at the show would, definitely showing up as early as possible.
Early as possible.
So,
Rustified.
4:45 a.m. I can guarantee you a demo.
Jesus.
No line.
Or for $99, we can guarantee.
If you show up wearing a pink tutu,
You know what I
I'll
noticed,
let
JP?
you skip the line.
You know what I noticed about you bringing in the Neo-Ho? Your guys who bring the vehicle to you, they always show up they don't show up like the night before. It's like they show up when the show starts.
Yeah.
It's like your guys, they come in the perfect time.
Yeah, it's a super blessing to me to have those guys, Roderick Escott and his son and brother.
Yeah, give them a shout out.
Man,
Are those the
this
dudes
is
that
it.
are out of those shows with you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're the ones that brings my Tahoe everywhere. Like I've been fortunate to have
I met those guys.
come across them in car audio, and they just happen to have like a big fifth wheel trailer and a dually and everything, and they like to go to shows and bring their vehicles, and so it works out. Like they like to.
So I have seen other builds, other vehicles with yours. Is that theirs?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So they were already kind of doing the thing, but I was like, man, like I could cover a lot of the cost, and I get my build to a lot more shows, and it makes it. Man,
do they
they're
have
a huge
do they have
blessing.
a company name or anything like that?
I don't.
Where are they
no,
based
I don't
out
think.
of?
I don't know if it's Montgomery, Alabama, or like it's just south of Birmingham where my truck stays at. Yeah. So
the best state ever.
Them Bama women, let me tell you.
yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it without them for sure. Or if I could, it would be way more difficult. Like way more difficult. They are a huge help to me.
Yeah, they've been with you for years now, right? Couple
This
years.
is pretty much like the second year. Like this year, man, we have covered some territory. I mean, everywhere from Florida to Indianapolis to they're bringing it to the show this weekend, North Carolina. Then Heat Wave in Austin, Texas, like 2 weeks ago. Like and then Biloxi. They've been hitting tons of shows, but that's been my goal this year since I finally got it finished or whatever, the truck finished, and everybody's been wanting to see it. So I'm trying to hit it or get it to as many shows as possible.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool. How about this? Let's go ahead and end the show now.
Boom.
See you
tomorrow.
I want to throw a few things out there. So we got Woofers Etc. Promo code SWAG. It's SWAG. Make sure you use that if you purchase your equipment from Woofers Etc. Then there's DVS Designs Apparel. Promo code After Dark. There's DJRusticals.com. Again, promo code After Dark. And that is it for the promo codes. And folks, let's go ahead and look at that camera up there. Let's give it a big thank you, JP and Nick. Thank you very much for coming in. You guys have a fantastic evening.